Chapter 2243. How long have you two been peeking? Tang Chuan was very generous and did not feel embarrassed at all. You bullied our auntie behind our backs and you still dare to be so self-righteous? You're so shameless. Pudding said in a domineering tone. Yeah. You think you can take advantage of our auntie just because she's dumb and innocent? Uncle Tang, you're getting more and more shameless as you get older. Pudding made a shy gesture with her fingers. Pfft, why would I be afraid of that? What's the point of being shy? I can't get a wife. Tang Chuan sighed. Qin Ning immediately reacted and pushed Tang Chuan away. Get lost. Who's your wife? Huh? You didn't hide just now. You can't turn against us just because the two little brats are here. Ning. Tang Chuan pretended to exaggerate. Pudding and Little Bean watched with great interest. Pudding, Little Bean. What you saw just now? Qin Ning paused, probably because she was too embarrassed. Don't worry, I won't tell Daddy and Mommy. Pudding reacted quickly. Good girls, Auntie didn't spoil you two for nothing. Qin Ning immediately relaxed after hearing Pudding's words. But Auntie, are you really going to date Uncle Tang? He's a big bad wolf and you're a little white rabbit. He'll eat you up. Pudding looked at her auntie worriedly. Her cute expression made people want to kiss her. Little Bean. You eat a lot of my Haagen-Dazs, right? It's okay if you don't help me at a critical moment like this. You're not a good kid. Tang Chuan reminded her. Don't worry, I never want to be a good kid. Pudding retorted. Tang Chuan, it's so cold outside. No, I have to go in and change. Qin Ning felt that kissing Tang Chuan was already embarrassing enough. Now that her two nieces had seen it, she found an excuse to run away. Hey, Ning. You have to be responsible for me. Tang Chuan shamelessly shouted behind her. Qin Ning covered her face with her hands and lowered her head. She ran as fast as she could and almost buried her head in the ground. After Qin Ning went in, Tang Chuan stood contentedly in the outdoor hot spring with his hands on his hips. Nieces, from now on, I'm your uncle. Be good, call me uncle. Tang Chuan said proudly. Pudding, many people want to be our uncle. Who do you think you are? Little Bean, that's right. Who do you think you are? Tang Chuan, hey, you two brats, why are you so against me? I used to love you so much. I bought you so much food, drinks, and toys for you. You two need to know how to be grateful. Tang Chuan bickered with the twins. Sure, we can also buy you Haagen-Dazs to repay you. Pudding's mouth was unforgiving. Pudding, can you two still have fun with Uncle Tang? Tang Chuan was also subdued by the two little devils. We've never had fun, thank you, Pudding retorted without giving him any face. Tang Chuan wanted to cry but had no tears. Just like that, the two of them became the most beautiful scenery in the outdoor hot spring. No one thought that Tang Chuan would drive all the way to Yending Mountain to see Qin Ning. The entire Tang family was looking for him like crazy. On the other hand, Qin Chu and Huamin originally planned to meet up with their family on Yending Mountain. However, Cece's accident forced them to postpone their trip. On the way to South Side, Huamin received a call from Jixin. Hey, Jixin, what is it? Sis, when are you and brother-in-law going to Yending Mountain? Let's go together. Chapter 2244. Something came up over here, so we'll be there later. Jixin, take Mom there first. I've already asked them to reserve a room for you. What happened? Jixin was worried about his sister. Nothing, don't worry. You guys go first, okay, sis, you have to be careful. Jixin hung up the phone and drove his mother and luggage to the Yending Mountain Hot Spring Resort. Huamin and Qin Chu planned to spend New Year's there, so their family stayed in a suite on the top floor. They could soak in the hot spring and watch the snow every day. It was very relaxing and comfortable. Huamin was very excited to hear that Cici had woken up. After Cici's accident, Huamin didn't want his family to worry, so he called Su Yu and asked him to tell Cici's sister that Cici had gone abroad for a vacation and that they shouldn't worry. Otherwise, if Cici's family knew that she was like this, they probably wouldn't be able to celebrate New Year's. It was understandable how they felt. When Huamin arrived at Cici's room, Qin Chu and Rick were both there. As Cici's chief surgeon, Qin Chu had been carrying the responsibility of a doctor. He had been observing her condition for a long time, and it was indeed very tiring for him. Qin Chu also had to deal with the company. Huamin's heart ached when he saw this. Sister Mian. Cici looked at Huamin and said weakly. Don't talk, Cici. You're so weak. Huamin was so scared that he immediately walked over and held her hand. How are you feeling? Huamin asked. I'm fine. Cici's face was pale. She had just woken up and was dehydrated because of severe blood loss and 48 hours of not eating. She looked exhausted. Don't worry. You just had a major surgery, so you'll recover slowly. I've already asked President Su to help you apply for leave. He said that you're going abroad with us for a vacation. Thank you, Sister Mian. Cici said with difficulty. Rick saw this from the side and his heart ached for her. Qin Chu gave Huamin a look. Honey, come drink some tea with me. I'm thirsty. Okay. Huamin knew that Cici probably wanted to talk to Rick alone. That was why Mr. Qin was so open-minded as to take her away and give Cici and Rick some space to talk. After Qin Chu and Huamin left, Rick walked over and crouched beside Cici's bed. Cici, I'm not dead. Are you disappointed? Cici smiled bitterly. Rick almost burst into tears again. Why do you say that? Am I that kind of man in your heart? Isn't that so? Don't you hate me and don't want to see me? Other people are still good exes and can still be friends even after they break up. There's nothing between us, but we're like enemies. Cici was full of grievances. It's not like that, Cici. You're wrong. You can't say that. Nothing happened between us. We have a lot of memories together, a lot of good memories. Then why did you abandon me? Cici questioned. I didn't abandon you. Cici, I left for your own good, really. Rick didn't want to aggravate Cici's injuries, so he tried to comfort her in the most gentle tone possible. That's such a cheap excuse. If that's what you mean by, for my own good, then I don't need you to do it for me. Qin Chu also said that he was doing it for Huamin, so he didn't come back to see her for 4 years. I already thought he was cruel. I didn't expect you to do it for my own good, too. If that's what you're doing, then. I'm sorry, I don't need you to do it for my own good anymore. You should see me and contact me. I'm not afraid no matter how many disasters you bring me, even if I die in the next moment, I won't back down. But I can't stand being strangers to you. Cici started panting again when she got too excited. Frightened, Hua Jinyao immediately held her hand tightly. Cici, slow down. Calm down. Chapter 22:45. Rick, you don't owe me anything. I'm just too stubborn and can't let go of our relationship. Maybe I'm forcing you. Since even death can't make us go back to square one, then let's just leave it at that. If we keep fighting, we'll both be tired. Cici shook off Rick's hand and said listlessly. Cici, don't think too much. Just focus on getting better, okay? Don't worry about me. I know you're very busy. You don't have time for me. Maybe it was because Cici was still young that she said this in a fit of pique. No, I'm not busy. No matter how busy I am, it's not as important as you. Cici, I know you don't want me to leave, so I won't leave. I'll stay with you. But if you don't leave now, it'll be Chinese New Year. Cici turned her head away from Rick's eyes. Then I'll stay and spend Chinese New Year with you. Rick seemed to have made up his mind. But only lovers spend Chinese New Year together. There's nothing between us, then we'll be in a relationship and spend Chinese New Year together. Rick didn't know how to coax girls, so he just answered whatever Cece said. Even if it was a joke, he would say it seriously. But we're not lovers anymore. We broke up more than 3 years ago. Cece pouted. Then we'll start over and date again, but I'm not that easy to woo. It's not as simple as you saying we'll be together. Cece said proudly. It's okay. I'm very patient. I'll keep going until you say yes. After Rick said those words with deep emotion, Cece suddenly felt a little excited and turned over abruptly. Ouch. It hurts. Maybe she used too much force, so it hurt the gunshot wound. Cece, slow down. Rick was so scared that his face changed. He got up and was about to call the doctor, but Cece grabbed him tightly. Rick, do you mean what you said just now? What did I say? Rick answered seriously. Cece was so angry that she wanted to strangle him to death. You. Cece was exasperated. Seeing that she was really angry, Rick immediately comforted her. Of course, of course. Don't be so agitated. Don't be angry, it'll affect your wound. Cece, I mean what I said to you. I'll get you back, okay? Then this time, will you still ditch me? Cece asked worriedly. It can't be. No matter what happens, you won't abandon me, right? Cece asked for confirmation. Yes. You swear? I swear, this time, even if I have to go through a mountain of swords and a sea of flames, even if the sky falls and the earth rends, I will never leave you again. Under Cece's coercion, Rick finally confessed his love for her. Cece felt that happiness had come too suddenly. If it weren't for the gunshot wound, Rick would probably still deny his feelings for her. I'll remember this. If you dare to break your oath, I won't let you off even if I become a ghost, okay? Rick smiled warmly and held Cece's hand tightly with both hands. But Cece, I have to tell you, the nature of my job, I'm actually the mafia godfather. I know all about it. Cece was very calm. Chapter 2246. You know? Rick was slightly surprised. He didn't expect Cece to say it so casually. Sister Mian told me a little. When you were at Seductive Fox, I knew you weren't doing honest business. After all, everyone knows what kind of place Seductive Fox is. Rick, you underestimate my tolerance. I want to say that when I like you, I'll accept you no matter if you're a god or a demon. So, you're thinking too much, that's not important. Cece, I have a lot of enemies. I'm afraid that one day, someone will target you. Don't worry, I'll try not to be a burden to you. I'll stay by your side and never leave your side. If someone wants to hurt us, we'll fight it out. At worst, we'll die together. After Cece finished speaking, she finally smiled. Looking at her smile, Rick suddenly felt the emptiness in his heart slowly fill up. Maybe Cece was right. People should live a simple life. If they were afraid of wolves and tigers, they might live in fear for the rest of their lives. It was better to think in the simplest and most direct way. Cece's thoughts were extremely simple. If they liked each other, they'd like to be together. If they didn't, they'd separate. If they faced difficulties together, they'd solve them together. At worst, they'd die together. At this moment, Rick suddenly realized that he and Chin Chu had made a famous mistake. They thought they were doing it for the sake of their loved ones, but it wasn't really for their own good. After all, they weren't involved. Just like how Chin Chu left for 4 years, he thought it was for Huomin's good. But in the past 4 years, Huomian couldn't sleep well and didn't live a good life. To Huomian, having Chin Chu by her side was the best. He and Cece were the same. Because of his identity and family, he didn't want to implicate an innocent girl like Cece. But what he didn't know was that to Cece, as long as she was by his side, it was the greatest happiness. Even if it meant death, sometimes, love could be said to be insignificant. Maybe some love couldn't withstand the test of money, let alone life and death. But some love was indeed great. Some people even spent their entire lives for love. They cherished love as much as their life. Although there weren't many girls like this, there were always some like Huamin and Cece. After almost losing Cece this time, Rick could no longer suppress his emotions. After comforting Cece for a long time and she fell asleep, Rick walked out of the room. How's she? Is she okay? Chin Chu asked. Yeah. She's asleep. What's your future plans? No. Rick was. Was Cece's heart, she was Cece's die, even if she was, T's are you, T? SSS? SCCST, Teat, S's this was it? By T's S's, and I'll never leave her again. Rick added. So are they going to make up? Huamian asked in disbelief. You could say that. You've really made up your mind? Aren't you? Chin Chu knew what Rick was thinking, so he reminded him carefully. Compared to those things, I'm more afraid of losing her. Rick's answer was simple and direct. Huamin was slightly touched. Cece's actually very simple-minded. She simplifies a lot of complicated things. In her world, there's only black and white, right and wrong, there's no gray area. Girls like her are hard to come by. Huamian spoke up for Cece. I know. Cece's been great. I'm just afraid I'll drag her down. Rick lowered his head, feeling guilty. What about your fiancé in New Orleans? Chin Chu was worried because he knew what kind of person Luna's father was. He was afraid that trouble would come. Chapter 22:47. Don't worry about Luna. I didn't agree to marry her anyway. It's always been her and her father's wishful thinking. Rick had always been cold towards women. Those who knew him well would know that he would only show his rare gentleness towards Cece. He was very similar to Mr. Chin in this aspect. However, the difference was that Mr. Chin not only loved his wife, but also loved his daughter. Just as they were chatting, Chin Chu's phone rang. Seeing that it was his daughter, Pudding, Chin Chu wanted to let Huamin speak as well. Therefore, he turned on the speakerphone and the volume was especially loud. As soon as the call went through, he heard Pudding's clear voice on the other end. Daddy, where are you? Daddy's outside. Are you busy? Yeah, I'm busy. Chin Chu's eyes were filled with love. Then, is Mommy by your side? Are you two together? Yeah, we're together. When are you guys coming to the Hot Spring Hotel to see us? Soon. We'll be there as soon as we're done. Uncle Jishin and Grandma are already here. Now it's just you two. I always thought that Daddy and Mommy are punctual people, so. Pudding didn't finish the rest of her sentence. Daddy. However, Huamin couldn't help but give Pudding a thumbs up. Her IQ and her words were too hard. Daddy and Mommy will definitely be there on time. Don't worry, Pudding, Chin Chu promised again. Just then, Pudding snatched the phone away from him. Daddy, I miss you so much. This second brother, he started acting coquettishly the moment he came up. His voice was so adorable that it melted one's heart. Pudding, Daddy misses you too. Daddy, I haven't seen you and Mommy for days. I've been having insomnia. I can't sleep or eat well. I've lost 4 ounces, 4 ounces. Ha. Huamin couldn't help but laugh. The only person who could measure his weight was his adorable Miss Pudding. Mommy, why are you laughing? Do you have any compassion? Pudding immediately complained when she heard her mother's voice. Pudding, how can you lose weight? How could I not believe it? You ate so much at the Hot Spring Hotel. It would be weird if you didn't get fat. Huamin said. I really lost weight. If you don't believe me, you can ask Big Sis. Little Bean whined. Daddy, Daddy. can you come back quickly? Without you at home, my heart feels empty. It's like I'm not interested in doing anything. Oh. Is that so? I didn't know Daddy was so important to Little Bean. Mr. Chin smiled. Teasing the little girl, Rick, who was watching from the side, was really envious. Although he didn't have a child and wasn't a father yet, he could see such an expression on Chin Chu's face. That was a miracle. Of course, Daddy is the most important. What about Mommy? Hua Min pretended to be jealous. Mommy is a little worse than Daddy, because Mommy has a bad temper. Comparatively speaking, she's not as calm as Daddy. Little Bean's comment almost made the three adults burst out laughing. Okay. Little Bean, remember this. Hua Min said deliberately with a smile. So, Daddy, can you come back now? I want to eat Suji's hibiscus cake and osmanthus cake. Little Bean finally got to the point. Now? But Daddy, how many hours will it take to drive there? Chin Chu looked at his watch. Chapter 22:48. I still want to eat it. They don't sell it here, but I really want to eat it. Little Bean said pitifully. Pudding chimed in, yes, Daddy. Little Bean was in a bad mood this morning and Grandpa and Grandma couldn't calm her down. She said she dreamed of hibiscus cakes last night. Do you want to buy some now? Sure, wait for me. I'll go buy some right away. Chin Chu didn't hesitate. He immediately agreed to help the twins. Honey, don't you still have unfinished documents at the company? Hua Min was surprised. Don't I still have you? Honey, you stay here and observe Cece for a while. If she's fine, you can go back to the company and then drive straight to the Hot Spring Hotel, Chin Chu instructed. What about you? I'm going to buy some hibiscus cakes now. You're really going? Hua Min thought that Chin Chu spoiled the twins too much. It was a few hundred kilometers away from Yunding Mountain. Was it really a good idea to go through so much trouble just to buy snacks for the kids? However, Mr. Chin had already left to carry out his orders. Before he left, he said to Rick, Cece can't leave the hospital right now. If you stay for the new year, you'll probably have to stay in the hospital too. Call me if you need anything. Rick nodded. Chin Chu took his car keys and left. Hua Min was speechless. Chin Chu is so good to the twins. Rick couldn't help but exclaim. I'm so jealous. Hua Min was jealous. Then, he shamelessly posted a WeChat message on his WeChat friend circle. It was a picture of Chin Chu's back view. It said, this man just went to buy pastries for someone else's wife. I'm so angry. As soon as the message was sent, everyone exploded. Zhu Lingling, what's going on? Did Mr. Chin cheat? Hua Min replied to Zhu Lingling. He came out of the closet. Jixin, sis, what's going on? Hua Min replied to Jixin, nothing. Gao Ran, looks like there's going to be a family war. Tang Chuan, ha 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 ha, get a stool and sit down to watch the show. The front row sells mineral water, drinks, and popcorn. Hua Min replied to Tang Chuan, I'll talk to Ning Ning about young Master Tang's love history later. Tang Chuan, no, no, no. I was wrong. Sister-in-law, I was really wrong. Hua Min replied to Tang Chuan, I'm not your sister-in-law yet. Please watch your words. Wei Liao, ahahaha, it's so lively today. Everyone came out to get some fresh air. Jiang Xiaowei, you guys are really stupid. What she said was obvious. She was referring to Pudding and Little Bean, okay? Other than his own daughter, who else would Mr. Chin treat so well? Everyone was commenting happily below the post. At this time, Suyu called. Hello? Hua Min, did you go to the Hot Spring Hotel for Chinese New Year? Suyu asked. Not yet. I'm still at South Side. Oh, wait for me. I'll come to you. What's up? Hua Min knew that Suyu wouldn't come to him for no reason. I have something for you. Then, before Huamin could reply, Suyu hung up. Inside the Yunding Mountain Hot Spring Hotel, the twins and Tang Chuan were resting in the hotel's upstairs cafe. "Auntie, how was my performance?" Little Bean looked at Qin Ning with a smile. "It was great." "So you lost. Give me the money." Little Bean reached out her chubby little hand. Qin Ning had just made a bet with her auntie that she would call her dad and ask him to come to the hotel immediately. However, the twins called right away and Qin Ning lost the bet. "Niece, you're so business-minded," Qin Ning exclaimed as she took out her wallet. Tang Chuan quickly took out 1,000 yuan and put it on the table. "Ning Ning, I'll pay for you." "Why?" Qin Ning looked at Tang Chuan from the corner of her eyes. "Because you're my wife," Tang Chuan said smoothly. Qin Ning's face immediately turned red. The twins looked at Tang Chuan and then at their aunt with that look in their eyes. "What's going on? Did you two sleep together?" Little Bean looked at the two of them seriously. Chapter 2249. Little Bean, don't talk nonsense. Qin Ning was so embarrassed that she was about to explode. His two nieces' habit of not giving up until they said something shocking was really inherited from their brother Qin Chu's fine tradition. "I want to sleep with her, but your auntie won't let me." Tang Chuan smiled wickedly. Qin Ning was so angry that she slapped Tang Chuan's shoulder. "Auntie, you know how to flirt now?" Pudding glanced at Qin Ning calmly. "Qin Ning, is it because I can't explain myself no matter what I do?" Qin Ning felt wronged. "You two kissed in the outdoor hot spring. What's there to explain?" "I'm going to talk to Daddy and Mommy when they come back." Little Bean purposely lowered her head and mumbled. Qin Ning was scared out of her wits. "Little Bean, does Auntie love you?" Qin Ning asked. "Yeah, she does." "Then why did you betray Auntie?" "Betray? Why do I feel like Auntie is being bullied?" "That's why I want to tell Daddy and Mommy to help you." Little Bean's mouth was not going to let Qin Ning off easily. "Ahem. Listen to me, Little Bean. Auntie isn't being bullied." Qin Ning explained patiently. "So you did it willingly? So, do you like Uncle Tang too?" Little Bean asked the key question again. To be honest, when Tang Chuan heard this, he was really excited. He really wanted to hear it from Qin Ning's mouth. He didn't expect Little Bean to be so dumb, cute, and dumb. However, she was still so sharp-tongued at critical moments. "Little Bean." Qin Ning's face turned red again. "Please answer my question, Auntie. If you admit that you did it willingly, then I won't tell anyone. Otherwise, I'll pretend that you were being bullied and tell Daddy and Mommy to help you." Little Bean threw out a difficult problem. Pudding glanced at Tang Chuan and asked in a low voice, "When did you bribe this foodie? Why is she helping you like this?" "Hee hee, this is our secret." Tang Chuan smiled proudly. In the end, Qin Ning admitted defeat. Listen to me, Pudding. I was willing to do this, but okay, I understand. We're all adults. I won't disturb you guys anymore. Sis, let's go see if Grandpa and Grandma are hungry. We'll take them to eat Cantonese food. Then, Little Bean held Pudding's hand and walked out. Qin Ning's heart was about to break down, and they're all adults? Those two were clearly little brats, all right? Ning Ning. After the twins left, Tang Chuan looked at Qin Ning affectionately. Qin Ning gritted her teeth and said, "Tang Chuan, don't misunderstand. I was afraid that Little Bean would tell my brother and sister-in-law. That's why I deliberately misled them. I didn't mean what I said. Do you understand?" "I know." Tang Chuan smiled. "You're still laughing?" Qin Ning was a little angry. She had just been bullied by her niece, but this idiot didn't come to help her. "What else? Do you want me to continue kissing you? It's freezing outside. I think it's faster to hug each other. Don't you agree?" Tang Chuan walked up to Qin Ning and tried to hug her. However, Qin Ning kicked him away. Go away. Don't touch me. She had already been taken advantage of today. The twins walked out and started a highly intelligent conversation. Little Bean, sis, how was my performance just now? Pudding, seriously exceeded your usual IQ. It was like you were cheating. Little Bean, damn, are you complimenting me or insulting me? Chapter 2250. Pudding, guess? Little Bean, I'm too lazy to guess. Pudding, Little Bean, sis, do you think there's something going on between Uncle Tang and Auntie? Pudding, I don't know if there's anything going on between them, but I know that you just interrogated Auntie and got the answer Uncle Tang wanted. So, can you tell me what kind of deal you made with Uncle Tang? Why are you working with him? Little Bean, working with him is overboard. It's not like I'm betraying Auntie. Pudding, cut the crap. What did Uncle Tang give you? Little Bean, there's nothing good this time. Sis, I'm really tired of seeing them like that. Auntie, too, clearly has someone in her heart, but she won't admit it. Pudding, how do you know Auntie likes him? Which eye of yours saw that? Little Bean, gosh. Sis, can you stop testing my IQ? Although my IQ isn't as high as yours, my EQ isn't lower than yours. Mommy invited Auntie to come back for the new year, but she said she might not have time. Don't you think it's strange that she suddenly came back? Plus, with Auntie's temper, if someone forced a kiss on her and she didn't like it, she would have drowned Uncle Tang in the hot spring just now. After all, Grandpa Qin said Auntie was a high-level taekwondo fighter, but she didn't. What does that mean? It means she has someone in her heart. Uncle Tang is an experienced flirt, but it's all an act. Handsome Sue said that Uncle Tang was hurt by love before, but he's still very soft and pure. Those women are all for show. So, when it comes to flirting, he doesn't have much experience. The two of them were stuck like that, and I felt annoyed just watching them, so I decided to help them. Pudding, at this moment, you're like a Buddha. Little Bean, haha. Sis, I'm embarrassed by your high praise. Pudding, so, can you tell me now? What did Uncle Tang give you? Little Bean, ahem. Sis, is it really okay for you to expose me like this? Pudding, what? Little Bean, an AI robot. Pudding, damn. Isn't that the one the Tang Corporation listed on the overseas market this year? I heard it's an AI robot butler. That's the best technology. Little Bean, yeah, I just casually mentioned it and he gave it to me. Pudding, I'll give you a robot worth more than 1 million as a gift. You're so proud. Little Bean, if it weren't for the fact that the technology isn't mature enough and it hasn't been sold globally, do you think I would want it? The problem is that it's not even available now. But I really like it. I even named it Whitey, hee hee. This was because the two ladies liked a Disney animation called Super Marines. There was a divine artifact robot butler in the movie called Dubai. It was especially warm, so Little Bean became obsessed with robots from then on. There were many robots in the house. However, this was the first time there were more than 1 million robots. Uncle Tang really put in a lot of effort this time. Pudding exclaimed with a smile. That's for sure. Auntie isn't that easy to woo. While the two ladies were singing the same tune, Tang Chuan and Qin Ning were still bickering and chatting in the cafe. Qin Ning suddenly felt that with Tang Chuan here, her boring life suddenly became much more interesting. Of course, she still didn't know that this was the feeling of liking someone. She thought that it was just because everyone was familiar with each other. After answering the phone, Huamin waited for Su Yu in the office at South Side. Soon, Su Yu arrived in his flashy Lamborghini. Huamin, come downstairs, Su Yu said on WeChat. Huamin immediately put on his jacket and went downstairs. When he reached the door, he was stunned. Chapter 2251. What are you doing? Huamin thought that since it was almost New Year, so you must have bought some food for the twins so that they could bring it back to the hot spring hotel. However, he realized that it wasn't as simple as just food. Behind the black Lamborghini was a white mid-sized pickup truck. There were a lot of big boxes in the truck. These are New Year goodies for you guys. Suyu answered calmly. What year are we in now? Bro, do you really need to buy New Year goodies like this? What do you need? The supermarket has it, okay? The hotel also has everything prepared. Huamin didn't know whether to laugh or cry. The supermarket won't sell these things, and neither will the hotel. Suyu answered with certainty. For example? Huamin tilted his head and looked at him. I've prepared 6 boxes of crabs for you. 6 different types of crabs that you don't have a foodie for. I'm afraid that you'll freeze to death, so I put them in the freezer. You have to hurry up and eat them. There's also pudding and pudding's favorite ice creams, pastries, and candies. There's Russian 7-colored tiramisu, Turkish sourdough, and special Hawaiian nuts. Anyway, these are all things that you can't buy. Okay, you win. Huamin couldn't help but admire Suyu. How did he get a truck full of New Year goodies? They were all specialties from all over the world. Most importantly, he still remembered that Huamin loved crabs. Then don't just stand there. When you drive back to the hotel, you can drive in front and I'll have the truck follow behind you. Oh, and then we'll drive behind you to protect you guys. No need, right? It's just New Year's, is it necessary? Huamin chuckled. I just video chatted with Pudding. She said that Chin Chu went back early. I'm afraid that you'll be in danger if you're alone. Suyu looked at Huamin seriously, his eyes full of tenderness. Mr. Chin already arranged for someone to protect me. I don't need an, it's too troublesome. He needs to go home for the new year. Huamin politely declined Suyu's request for Anne's protection. Well, in short, you're not going back alone. I'm relieved. Suyu nodded. Then. I'll accept the New Year goods. I won't stand on ceremony. Huamin smiled brightly. Yes, it was prepared for you. You're welcome. Tell Lord Su that we will come back on the 2nd day of the 1st lunar month to give him a New Year's greeting. Ask him to prepare a red packet. Huamin joked. Of course, the red packet was prepared half a year ago. My old man only has eyes for the twins. Suyu pretended to be jealous. Oh, right, how's that girl named Cece? Is it serious? Suyu thought about Cece's injury. She's fine. Her life is no longer in danger. Have you contacted her family? Huamin asked. Suyu nodded. I did. Maybe it's because I'm the one who said it, so it's more believable. I called Nia Lingxian. That's good, okay, I'll leave you to it. I'm leaving, wait. Huamin hurriedly stopped him. Suyu immediately turned around. Thank you, Lord Su. Huamin thanked him sincerely. Don't mention it. Suyu laughed heartily. Then I'll see you on the 2nd day of the 1st lunar month. By the way, I'll arrange an Ai Yang's wedding. If you have any ideas or requests, feel free to contact me. After all, he's an employee of your company. This wedding is also a grand occasion for Imperial Star. I know. I'll leave it to you. Just do whatever you want. Suyu waved his hand and left South Side. Watching this majestic man drive away in his black Lamborghini, Suyu felt a little guilty. Huamin looked at the sincere New Year's gifts and felt guilty. She had never wronged anyone in her life, whether it was her parents, her children, or her lover. The only person she had wronged was this man. She was afraid that she would never be able to repay Suyu's kindness in this lifetime. Before Huamin left South Side, he went to see Cece again. Sister Mian, you're here. Cece looked a lot better and was able to sit up against the headboard. Rick was peeling an apple with a fruit knife. It was a heartwarming scene. Chapter 2252. Cece, don't worry. Mr. Chin and I plan to go back to the hot spring hotel to meet up with our family. After 3 days of injections, you can be discharged. I've reserved a suite for you guys at the hotel. You and Rick can go to the hotel to meet us. Ni Young is getting married on the 8th day of the Chinese New Year. Okay, thank you, Sister Mian. You're welcome. Call me if you need anything. Just focus on your recovery and don't think about anything else. Stay in a good mood, Huamin reminded her again. Okay. Cece nodded. Huamin glanced at Rick. You won't leave her here alone, right? No, Rick said with a straight face. Okay. Take good care of Cece. Call me anytime. Then, Huamin packed up and drove to the company to help Chin Chu with some documents. Then, he went back to South Hill Manor to pick up some things. Then, he left Sea City with the New Year goodies that Suyu bought for him and his bodyguards. He headed to the Hot Spring Hotel to meet up with his family. Southside VIP room, have an apple. Rick handed it to her. I don't want one. Apples are good for you. What's good for me? Cece looked up at Rick. Rick thought hard for a while and said with a straight face, You'll be fair. Cece burst out laughing. So you're saying that the reason why those people are so tanned is because they haven't eaten apples? Then, Africans have never eaten an apple in their lives? Rick, okay. I'll stop teasing you. Cece took the apple and took a bite. To be honest, Rick really didn't know how to take care of people, let alone patients and women. The first time he took care of Cece, the two of them had a lot of funny stories. Huamin was worried that Chin Chu should find a caregiver because Rick didn't look professional. However, Rick was worried and insisted on taking care of Cece himself. Cece didn't want to leave him either. I want to watch TV, Cece said as she ate the apple. Rick turned on the television and silently switched to the children's channel. He found Boonie Bears. I don't want Boonie Bears. I like to watch Peppa Pig now. Cece pouted. Rick, although the hospital was Cece's least favorite place, she felt that this was the happiest day of her life because Rick was here with her. It was simply impossible for Rick to bring his subordinates to stay in the Southern District. The entire European and American markets were in a mess. No one could find the godfather of the underworld. No one would have thought that he was hiding in a hospital in a city. Accompanying his little girlfriend, living a life of daily necessities, living a life of luxury, in the blink of an eye, it was New Year's Eve. The hotel had prepared a New Year's Eve dinner. Everyone was in the restaurant, watching the Spring Festival Gala live broadcast on a huge screen. Then, the young people all took out their phones and sent all kinds of red packets and snatched red packets. Huamin gave Suyu 8 red packets of 188 yuan each. Each red packet had a word written on it. There were a total of 8 words. The New Year, great luck and great success. Is this the legendary reign of red packets? Suyu replied with a smile. Lord Su, Happy New Year. Huamin sent Suyu a red packet first because she wanted to thank him the most. Same to you, Vice Director Hua, Suyu replied. Sir, it's almost time. The dumplings will be ready soon. Can we set off the fireworks now? The restaurant manager walked over and asked Chin Chu carefully. Sure, Mr. Chin said coolly. 10 seconds later, fireworks bloomed outside the hotel. The twins were still kids after all. Seeing the sky full of fireworks, they were so excited that they jumped up and ran to the observation deck. Wow, it's so beautiful. Little Bean and Pudding exclaimed. Honey, is there something on your mind? Chin Chu noticed that Huamin was a little distracted. Honey, Huamin looked up at Chin Chu, wanting to say something but hesitated. I know who you're thinking about. Chin Chu put his arm around her shoulders and comforted her. Then, Chin Chu put his hand on Huamin's shoulder and pointed at the entrance of the restaurant. Honey, look over there. Huamin looked in the direction of Qin Chu's finger. Instantly, tears welled up in her eyes. Chapter 2253. A girl in a black trench coat stood at the door. She was beautiful and had dimples on her face. When Huamin saw her, he almost cried, "Yen." Huamin felt his voice tremble. "Come on, give me a hug." Lu Yen ran over and gave Huamin a bear hug. The two sisters had only met a few times, but Lu Yan's scent was familiar to Huamin. Perhaps this was the tacit understanding between blood-related sisters. Because of Lu Yan's status, Qin Chu asked Qin Ning to bring her parents, Huamin's mother, and his brother to another private room to watch the New Year's gala. Qin Chu, Huamin, and the twins stayed in a private room to eat with Lu Yan. "Yen, why are you?" Lu Yan's arrival was so sudden that Huamin was not prepared for it. This was a big surprise. "I was going to come with my dad, but he's a stubborn person. He thought that if I came with him and got caught by that big psycho Ian, I'd be dead meat. So, even though I really wanted to come, I didn't. But it's okay, next year, I'll drag my dad here to accompany you." Lu Yan's tone was always domineering. Maybe it had something to do with her personality or her profession, but she was the kind of woman with a strong aura. "I'm happy that you're here, but won't you be in danger if you come alone? Don't put yourself in danger just to keep me company." Huamian was always worried about Lu Yan and worried about her. "I didn't come alone. If you didn't mention it, I would have forgotten." Then, Lu Yan turned around and yelled at the person at the door, "Psycho Qiao, come here, I'll introduce you to my sister." Lu Yan's call of Psycho Qiao attracted everyone's attention. Huamin looked up and saw a man with short silver hair standing at the door. He looked very young, wearing a dark blue Russian-style military uniform, standing there with a straight face. The man's face was expressionless, but his eyes were unusually good-looking. He looked a bit like a character from an anime. "Wow, that guy is so handsome," Little Bean exclaimed as she held the tiramisu in her hand. "This is the first time I've seen someone like him. His aura is so cold, even colder than Daddy's." Pudding agreed with her sister. Hearing Lu Yan's words, the man walked over slowly. "Sister, brother-in-law." Xiao Fei nodded politely. "This is..." Huamin didn't know much about Lu Yan and her dad. However, Qin Chu knew a thing or two about it because he had operated on Xiao Fei in Moscow and removed the bullet. "Xiao Fei." Lu Yan introduced him with a smile. "Oh, I remember now. He's your boyfriend, right?" Huamin suddenly remembered that Xiao Yan had a boyfriend in Russia. He seemed to be very powerful. "Sister, I'm not her boyfriend. I'm her fiancé." Xiao Fei corrected her with a straight face. Huamin, hey, why are you so stubborn? If he's your boyfriend, then he's your fiancé. Why are you so serious with my sister? Lu Yan pinched Xiao Fei. They're completely different. Boyfriend means we're in a relationship and our relationship isn't stable yet. Fiancé means we're about to get married and only need a wedding. Xiao Fei explained. Chapter 2254. My bad. Ha, yes, he's fiancé. Are you guys getting married? Huamin thought that his sister was still young and couldn't be getting married so soon. No, sis, don't listen to him. We don't have plans for a wedding yet. How can we call ourselves a family if we don't get rid of Ian? Lu Yan sighed slightly. Huamin heard Ian's name again. A man that even a fugitive like Yan had to be careful of must be a ruthless character, right? Everyone, sit down, don't just stand there. Qin Chu said. Then, the four of them sat down. The twins were no longer in the mood to watch the fireworks. They ran over to Huamin and Qin Chu and peeked at Lu Yan. Mommy, this Andy came to our house last time. Pudding always had a good memory. Pudding, you still remember me? Lu Yan was overjoyed. Auntie, don't you remember me as Pudding? Lu Yen smiled and picked up Pudding, who was closest to her, with great strength. Pudding, call me Auntie, Auntie, Happy New Year. Pudding, who was always arrogant, called her Auntie obediently. Pudding was second only to Pudding. Lu Yen took out a red envelope from her bag and stuffed it into Pudding's hand. Take it. It looks pretty thin. Auntie, you're a little stingy. Is there only 100 yuan in it? Pudding, who was used to receiving red envelopes with cash, felt the envelope and knew that there wasn't much inside. In fact, there was only one red envelope. The biggest currency in China was 100 yuan. Even in US dollars, 100 yuan was only 600 yuan. Pudding thought that this auntie wasn't an ordinary person and wouldn't be so stingy. Lu Yen put down Pudding calmly and waved at Pudding. Pudding, come here. Do you want a red envelope? Yes, yes. Check it out. I'll take it even if it's 100 yuan. I can buy ice cream with 100 yuan. Little Bean climbed down from Qin Chu's lap and ran into Lu Yan's arms. Before Lu Yan could say anything, Pudding kissed Lu Yan's cheek. Happy New Year, Auntie. Good luck. Good fortune. Pudding and Little Bean both thought that such a New Year's greeting sounded stupid. But he still had to say it. After all, adults like to hear it. Lu Yan took out another red envelope and stuffed it into Little Bean's hand. It was also very thin, like Pudding's. Open it and see. Lu Yan smiled mysteriously. Little Bean and Pudding looked at each other and slowly opened the red envelope. Damn. International check. Because Huamin and Qin Chu often used it, the two little guys knew what it was. 8 million. Pudding was also dumbfounded. Huamin was shocked and immediately scolded, quickly take it back to Auntie. You're not allowed to take it. Huamin thought Lu Yen would only give the kids a red packet of 800 to 1,000 yuan or 10,000 US dollars at most. The last time they went to America, Qin Ning had prepared 1,000 US dollars. Even Huamin thought it was too much. After all, they were only 3 years old and didn't have a strong sense of control over money. Although Pudding liked to invest in stocks, she was only in charge of controlling them and couldn't withdraw the money. Sis, it's for the kids. Don't be so polite with me, I'm not being polite. It's too much. Yen. That's 8 million yuan. The two kids are more than 10 million yuan. Are you crazy? Huamin strongly objected. Take it, sis. Lu Yen is very rich. Qiao Fei said quietly. Chapter 2255. Damn it. If I spent all my money, I'd definitely ask you for more. You're just a bystander. Lu Yen turned her head and scolded Xiao Fei. No problem. If you marry me, all my money will be yours. Xiao Fei was ready to force her to marry him. Lu Yen was speechless. Ahem. Sis, this is a token of my sincerity. Even though Psycho Qiao accidentally revealed my financial situation, he wasn't wrong. I am indeed very rich. This is a token of my sincerity for the babies. Take it. What's the point of letting them study abroad? Auntie, this money is enough for us to study on the moon. Pudding exclaimed. That's right. We'll go there on a rocket and come back on a rocket. Bye. Pudding imitated the action of a rocket. It made the adults laugh. During dinner, Qin Chu raised his glass and said, "Thank you for coming to celebrate Chinese New Year with us. Your sister is in a good mood today, don't mention it. Brother-in-law, we're family." Lu Yen smiled. Brother-in-law, I heard that the surgery you performed on me was very difficult. Thank you for your hard work. Qiao Fei respected Qin Chu very much. He grew up in a military family and was the king of Russia. He was also a tyrant internationally. Qiao Fei had never been afraid of him. Other than Lu Yen, he admired Qin Chu the most. If it weren't for Qin Chu, he would have been a corpse by now. We're family. You guys must have come a long way. Eat more. Qin Chu's wish was to secretly help Huamin find his family. Now that Lu Yen was here, he was slowly helping her realize her wish. Yen, Xiao Fei. Eat, eat. Huamin was very enthusiastic and kept putting food on Lu Yan's plate. It was obvious that she was very happy. The four of them drank 6 or 7 bottles of red wine. Lu Yan's alcohol tolerance was high enough that she wouldn't get drunk. Xiao Fei was born in Russia, so he was also a wine god. On the other hand, Qin Chu and Huamin were a little tipsy. After the four of them finished eating, they walked to the observation deck. The fireworks outside were still going off. Looking at such a gorgeous night, Huamin suddenly felt like he was dreaming. Qin Chu took Xiao Fei to the other side. The two men had a lot to talk about. Qin Chu knew that he would need the Qiao family's help if he wanted to deal with Ian and Huasiqian. The twins went to another room and kowtowed to their grandparents to ask for red packets. Huamin and Lu Yen stood alone on the balcony. Leaning against the railing, they looked at the mesmerizing night sky. Huamin suddenly grabbed Lu Yan's hand tightly. Sis. Lu Yen was touched. Yen, I feel like I'm in a dream. It's so unreal. I've been restless the whole day. Every festive season, I miss my family. I suddenly miss your dad so much. I really want you guys to be by my side. Me too. All these years, ever since I found out that I had a sister, I've been trying to find ways to see you. If it wasn't for that damn Ian, Dad would have come. Actually, Dad and I haven't spent the new year together for years. It's extremely difficult to even see each other. Dad has a lot of things to do, and most of the time, he's hiding in the lab and refusing to come out. I've traveled all over the world by myself and seen different things. Lu Yen looked into the distance and said word by word. Yen, it's so good to see you. Huamin hugged Lu Yan's shoulder tightly. Chapter 2256. The two sisters loved each other dearly. Ever since Huamin found out about Lu Yan's existence, he had been thinking about her. He even dreamed of living a simple and peaceful life with Lu Yen. Like all the other sisters in the world, they could go shopping, eat, watch movies, drink tea, travel, etc. Sis, as long as I'm alive, I'll protect you forever. Because I'm strong, I have to protect the people I love the most. You and Dad are the most important people in my heart, and so are the twins. I won't let anyone hurt you, Lu Yen said quietly. Yen, have you thought about it? Can't you be an employee for the rest of your life? When do you want to leave that world? Huamin asked softly. Lu Yan's eyes dimmed slightly. Sis, I've never liked this industry, this world, but I can't help it. In this world, a lot of things don't go the way you want them to. I've been tired for a long time. I have a lot of money, a lot of excellent subordinates, a lot of loyal friends, and Psycho Qiao is loyal to me, but as long as Ian isn't dead, I can't leave. He chased after me and Dad for so many years, and he refused to let go. Maybe, everything will only end when Dad and I die. It's the new year, don't say such inauspicious things. Huamin immediately interrupted Lu Yen. Anyway, you don't have to worry. Ian's death is the end of everything. When Ian dies, everything will end, and we'll go find Mom, then, our family will be together forever. Sis, let me tell you, I've saved up a lot of US dollars, gold bars, diamonds, and antiques. That money is enough for us to spend for a few lifetimes. I also have a private island in the South Pacific. It's like spring there all year round. It's my home base. You guys can go there with me, and we'll live a peaceful life. Okay. Huamin nodded. Lu Yen described a very idealistic life, but Huamin knew that reality was very realistic. Dreams were plentiful, but reality was bony. In front of these beautiful lives, there were unknown difficulties and bumps. One Ian might be able to destroy all of them. About Ian, the Nalo brothers, the terrorist organization, and their relationship with Huasiqian. Huamin knew very little, but she knew that these were things that she might have to face in the future. She wouldn't let Xiaoyan and her father face those things while she hid and enjoyed the peace they had fought for with their lives. At midnight, the waiter served the cooked dumplings. According to the rules of the north, the dumplings had to contain a gold coin. No matter how many people there were in the house, only one would be placed. They wanted to see who was the most fortunate one. Both adults and children would look forward to it. It had been many years since Xiao Fei and Lu Yan had eaten dumplings that tasted so traditional. Little Bean ate 4 in a row and was already full. However, she didn't want to give up and continued eating because she didn't get any gold coins. Pudding was in a good mood. She ate 3 and stopped eating after she was full. She took out her phone and sent a WeChat message to Su Yu to wish him a happy new year. At this moment, Huamin suddenly felt something pressing against his teeth. After frowning slightly, she spat out a gold coin. It landed on the dining table with a clang. Mommy got it again. It's so weird. Little Bean pouted, unwilling to accept it. Why again? Does your mommy get the lottery every year? Lu Yan pinched Little Bean's face with a smile. Chapter 2257. That's right. Every year, it's mommy. Oh my god, I'm not convinced. Mommy, are you cheating? Little Bean looked at Huamin with dissatisfaction. Huamin asked innocently, how do I cheat? You wear those contact lenses that can see through things. Then you eat whichever dumpling you see has a gold coin in it. Huh, do you think mommy is Sun Wukong? You have sharp eyes. Huamin laughed so hard that he was convulsing. Seriously. It's only been 4 years since I came to this world, and mommy has been hogging me for the past 4 years. Little Bean was very unhappy. It means your mommy is lucky. Qin Chu comforted his daughter with a smile. Daddy, you always favor mommy. Humph. Little Bean, it's okay. Let me tell you, you can use the 8 million to buy a lot of gold coins. Put a gold coin in each dumpling, and you'll never miss. Lu Yan suggested. Little Bean, okay, auntie, you win. Little Bean thought she was a weirdo, but her auntie was even weirder than them. Just then, the ending song of the Spring Festival Gala was playing on the TV. The stars sang, Loving Family. Look, is that Uncle and Yang? Little Bean's attention was immediately attracted by the people on the TV. Pudding stopped playing with her phone and looked up at the TV. Yang took the lead in singing, Loving Family. The lyrics were warm and touching. It was the first time Lu Yan had watched a boring gala so attentively. Yang's voice was very pleasant to the ears and was very recognizable. So when he opened his mouth, everyone was stunned. I like the warm lights waiting for me when I come home. I like the smiles on everyone's faces when I wake up. I like to work hard for my family and my dreams when I leave the house. I like being a family, looking in one direction with my heart. Huamin instantly resonated with the song and started singing along unconsciously. Because we are a family that loves each other. We should share our blessings and share our misfortunes. We should exchange our friendship for eternity. When Huamin finished listening to the song, he turned around and found that Lu Yan and Xiao Fei were gone. Where's Yan? Huamin stood up in a panic. Qin Chu immediately came over and hugged her to comfort her. They just left. They didn't dare to say goodbye to you. They were afraid that you would cry. Hearing that Lu Yan had left, Huamin burst into tears. Like a child, Lu Yan doesn't feel good about it either. But you know they had no choice. It's already very risky for them to enter the country together. The helicopter is waiting for them outside. I know. I just can't bear to. Huamin sobbed as he spoke. His voice was choked with sobs. I promise you that I'll find a way to solve this as soon as possible. In the future, Lu Yan and the professor can come and see you whenever they want, okay? Qin Chu comforted Huamin patiently as if he was talking to a child. Mommy, don't cry. Auntie said, she'll come and see us again. Little Bean comforted her. Mommy, when we have time, we'll go to Russia to see Auntie. Pudding also held on to Huamin's hand. Huamin tried to suppress the sadness in her heart and wiped away her tears. She looked at the time on her phone. It was already past midnight. The twins looked tired. Honey, take the girls back to bed. I'll clean up and come to you guys in a bit. Okay. Get ready. Okay. Huamin nodded and went to the dressing room to wash her face. Qin Chu took the twins to bed. Her phone kept ringing with red packets from her friends and the lucky ones from the group chat. But at this moment, Huamin was in no mood. For the first time, she wanted Lu Yen to stay so badly. Chapter 2258. She didn't expect that when she left, she didn't even have time to say goodbye to her. Lu Yen and Xiao Fei left as quickly as they came. Other than Qin Chu and his family, no one else saw them. It was as if it was really a dream. 20 minutes later, Huamin washed his face and removed his makeup. Then, he walked out in a bathrobe. He had a glass of red wine in his hand. He saw Jixin coming back from watching the fireworks. Sis, Happy New Year, Happy New Year. Huh? Sis, what's wrong? Your eyes are red. Did someone bully you? No one. Did my nieces make you angry again? Jixin asked worriedly. No, it's just that I'm old and think a lot. I always think about the unhappy things in the past. Huamin found an excuse and didn't mention Lu Yen. After all, Jixin didn't know about his sister's identity. Aya, sis, you really? You scared me to death. I thought something was wrong. Let's go, I'll drink with you. Before Huamin could say anything, Jixin pulled Huamin to the observation deck and poured himself a glass of red wine. He was in such a good mood. Sis, this is for you. Jixin handed over a small black box. What's this? Huamin picked up the box curiously. Last time, the company sent me to South Africa on a business trip. I bought it on the way. They produce diamonds and the quality is pretty good, so I bought one for you. Huamin put down the wine glass in his hand and opened it to see a diamond brooch. It was in the shape of a plum blossom. Each petal was decorated with a sparkling diamond. Oh my God, you're rich. Where did you get so much money? Huamin was surprised. It's not that expensive, only a few $100,000. My year-end bonus for the second half of the year is over $200,000. Sis, don't underestimate me. Jixin smiled as he picked up the wine glass and took a sip. Huamin was touched. He picked up the brooch and pinned it on his bathrobe. This New Year's gift is very good. I like it very much. Huamin smiled. Sis, thank you for everything you've done for our family all these years. I'll always love you and the twins. What about your brother-in-law? Huamin asked jokingly. At the mention of Qin Chu, Jixin's gaze became unnatural. Sis, you really love my brother-in-law, don't you? Jixin asked in all seriousness. Duh. If I didn't love him, how could I marry him and give birth to 2 kids for him? Huamin laughed, thinking that Jixin's question was meaningless. Then, if, and I'm saying if, one day you find out that my brother-in-law betrayed you, what would you do? Jixin asked again. Betray me? I've never thought about this before. What's wrong? Did you find out that your brother-in-law has a mistress? Huamin deliberately asked him with a smile. Sis, don't be so cheeky. I'm serious. Why do you have to be so serious about something that can't happen? Huamin disagreed. Are you that confident in my brother-in-law? What if? I'm saying what if he disappoints you? What if he's hiding something from you? Jixin looked at his sister nervously. Jixin, did you find out something? Finally, Huamin stopped smiling and looked at Jixin with all seriousness. This was because her younger brother had never been a person who was willing to worry and think too much. So, he must have found something since he kept bringing it up. Sis, the truth is, I don't know how to say it. I've been keeping it to myself for a long time. I don't want to affect your relationship with my brother-in-law. If I don't say it, you'll be sad. Jixin lowered his head, conflicted. Chapter 22:59. It's that serious? Then all the more reason to say it. Huamin said half-jokingly. Sis, I don't even know how to say it, stop dawdling, Jixin, you're a man, okay? Be decisive, I'm your sister. Although Huamin loved Jixin, he knew that Jixin had a weakness in his personality, and that was that he was indecisive. Whether it was in his work, personal life, he wasn't decisive enough. That was why he still hadn't won Bella's heart, and that was why Huamin had a headache. Then I'll say it, sis. Jixin carefully observed his sister's expression. Okay, say it, I can handle it. Even if you say that your brother-in-law has a mistress outside, I can still handle it. Huamin crossed his arms in front of his chest. Then, he looked at Jixin and smiled. Sis, I really think that my brother-in-law has a mistress outside, right? Jixin said uncertainly. How did you know? Huamin asked calmly. Once, I woke up in the middle of the night and overheard my brother-in-law talking on the phone. The gist of it was that, you can't let Huamin know about this. Also, from his expression, it seemed to be very important, and he was afraid that you would know. We all know how much my brother-in-law loves you these past few years, and he would never hide anything from you. So, I'm sure. Jixin deliberately paused here. So, you're sure that Qin Chu has a mistress behind my back? Huamin asked on behalf of Jixin. Jixin nodded, his heart heavy. But your brother-in-law is with me every day, where would he have time to have a mistress? I have all of his bank cards, and I know every single one of them. Huamin smiled disapprovingly. Sis, don't let love get to your head, okay? My brother-in-law is young, handsome, and rich. It's normal for women to have feelings for him. Plus, he's not with you every day. Jixin mumbled quietly. He comes back every night, I'm sure of that. He doesn't even go on business trips anymore. Huamin defended Qin Chu. But before he came back, you guys were separated for 4 years. Jixin couldn't help but correct him. Suddenly, Huamin fell silent. Sis, it's not that I doubt brother-in-law's character, but sometimes, people change according to their environment. Brother-in-law was in Migua for 4 years, and he traveled from city to city. How do you know that he didn't have a woman by his side? Maybe there's a story behind it. Brother-in-law is a human, not a god, and humans make mistakes. I think it's understandable if it was a one-night stand or if he couldn't control himself. After all, you guys have been married for so many years, and you've even had 2 children. But if that woman is still in contact with him, and you're still in the dark, I think it's unfair to you. After all, you love him so much. I even think that sometimes, your love for him is even greater than his love for you. You've endured these 4 years alone, and you've held on to the friendship from when you were young, ignoring Su Yu's love and care. How many women in the world can do that? Jixin, I'm not as good as you make me out to be. Plus, when it comes to love, you shouldn't care about whether it's fair or not. Your brother-in-law loves me to the core. Maybe it's because of his personality, but there are a lot of things that he doesn't say, and he puts his actions into action. I'm not an idiot, I can tell if he's sincere or not. Sis, there's something wrong with what we're saying. It's not like that. I don't doubt that brother-in-law doesn't love you, and I'm not saying that he's pretending to love you. I just think that he's hiding something from you. Plus, he called you so sneakily and stressed that he wouldn't let you know. I think there's something fishy going on here. When did you hear that? Huamin asked calmly. Chapter 22:60. It's been a long time. I wanted to tell you a long time ago, but I don't know what to do. I'll regret it if I tell you, and I'll regret it if I don't. Jixin was still struggling. It's okay, I'll be careful if you tell me. Sis, why don't you ask Qin Ning? She's been in the States all this time, so she'll definitely know something. Jixin suggested. Jixin, who else did you tell about this? Does Mom know? Of course not, I wouldn't tell anyone. Plus, I don't know what happened, and I don't want to wrong my brother-in-law, so I just wanted to tell you. Okay, good. Don't tell anyone about this, I know what to do and I'll take care of it. Okay, sis, I believe you. You and Bella haven't made any progress yet? Hua Min asked. Jixin scratched his head. Bella's personality. I don't want to confess, I don't want to lose her as a friend and colleague. You're not as good as Ni Yang in this aspect. Look at him, he's about to get married, but you're not even close. You can't compare, sis, Ni Yang's a celebrity. But you're still President Qin's brother-in-law. Hua Min retorted. Huh, okay, sis, you win. President Qin's brother-in-law, that's a tempting title. Jixin laughed. Okay, go to bed, it's late. After Hua Min and Jixin parted ways, they went straight back to their suite. In order to improve their relationship with the twins, Qin Chu and Hua Min reserved a super large suite in the hotel. The family of 4 lived together, it was warm and romantic, and there was also private space. When Hua Min went back, it was already 2 in the morning. The twins were already asleep, and Qin Chu was still working at his desk. Wow, Mr. Qin, you're still working on New Year's Eve. Hua Min chuckled. You're back. You must be very tired. Go take a bath and sleep. Qin Chu said, feeling sorry for Hua Min. He got up and opened the bathroom door to fill the bath with hot water for Hua Min. Hua Min couldn't believe that Mr. Qin would do anything to betray her as she watched him run around trying to help her. She wouldn't believe him either, but Jixin wasn't someone who would lie. There was no way Mr. Qin would make up that story for no reason. That meant that Mr. Qin was indeed hiding something important from him. And it sounded like something important, Hua Min analyzed calmly, but he didn't say anything. He didn't ask Qin Chu or Qin Ning, because with Qin Ning's intelligence, she would tell Qin Chu if he asked. Then, it would be even more troublesome. New Year's Eve came to an end. Lu Yan's sudden return made Hua Min very happy. When Lu Yan left in a hurry, Hua Min was in a daze. After all these years, he finally found out about his identity and that his father and sister were still alive. But he couldn't see them whenever he wanted. It was clear that money wasn't everything. Sometimes, Hua Min even thought that he didn't want his current identity and status. He just wanted to be an ordinary person. He had an ordinary but harmonious family with his husband, daughter, mother, brother, parents-in-law, father, and sister. The days after New Year's Eve flew by. Qin Chu and Hua Min returned to Sea City to work. In the blink of an eye, it was the 8th day of the first lunar month. On the day of Ni Yang's wedding, everyone arrived early in the morning. Su Yu, Wei Liao, Jiang Xiaowei's family, Gao Ran, Zhu Lingling's family, and Tang Chuan hadn't left this week. They flirted with Qin Ning every day. Qin Ning had planned to leave on the 3rd day of the first lunar month. But now, she didn't mention anything about going back to the States. Qin Chu and Hua Min got up early to take care of the banquet and guests. Ni Yang's wedding began a few days before the new year. Look, who's here? Tang Chuan pointed at the door and made a fuss. Chapter 2261. After Tang Chuan finished speaking, everyone looked up and saw Shen Mingxi and Hui Yanyan walking in. Shen Mingxi was wearing a black slim-fit suit, while Hui Yanyan was wearing an orange evening gown with exquisite makeup on her face. One had to admit that Hui Yanyan looked good in her makeup. However, Hui Yanyan gave Hua Min a sense of distance. This was the first time Hua Min saw Hui Yanyan since the kidnapping. It felt like a lifetime ago. Why are they here too? Jiang Xiaowei was surprised. Ever since Shen Mingxi and Wei Ying divorced, the Shen and Wei families had been on bad terms. In private, Wei Liao and Shen Mingxi's relationship wasn't as good as before, and Su Yu was sometimes in a difficult position. Young Master Shen is so close to Lord Su, and Ni Yang is the big brother of Imperial Star. How can he not come? Tang Chuan interrupted. As the hosts, Qin Chu and Huamin walked up to greet them. After greeting Shen Mingxi, Huamin glanced at Hui Yanyan with a complicated expression. Yanyan, long time no see, yeah, long time no see. Where are Pudding and Little Bean? Hui Yanyan asked with a smile. They're today's flower girls. They're preparing for the wedding. Where's Tian Tian? Huamin asked. Tian Tian has piano lessons today, so she didn't come. Hui Yanyan's face was brimming with confidence. It was obvious that she was living a good life. Naturally, her arm was wrapped around Shen Mingxi's. They looked so intimate that anyone could tell what their relationship was. After a few simple pleasantries, Huamin welcomed them in. Shen Mingxi walked over with Hui Yanyan and greeted Su Yu and the others. During the whole process, Wei Liao's face was very ugly. He had always been a calm person, but this time, he really didn't give him any face. Young Master Shen, how long has it been since your divorce? Are you already showing off your new bride? Wei Liao said coldly. Jiang Xiaowei also looked at her husband in surprise. She didn't expect him to say such a thing. Shen Mingxi glanced at Wei Liao with a complicated look in his eyes. It has nothing to do with how long we've been divorced. I don't think I'm showing off. Yan Yan is my girlfriend. I can't avoid bringing her out to meet people. Mr. Wei, you don't have to think too much about it. But you're doing this just to embarrass the Wei family. How can I not think too much about it? Ying is sincere to you. If you don't like her, you don't have to marry her. Why do you have to marry her and let her down? Now you're showing off on purpose. I think young Master Shen is purposely going against the Wei family. Old Wei, you're thinking too much. Tang Chuan tried to persuade him. This is our private matter. Don't worry about it. Go do what you need to do. Wei Liao pulled a long face for the first time. Not only did he not give face to Tang Chuan, but he also didn't give face to Su Yu. His words shut Su Yu up. Su Yu seemed to understand Wei Liao's temper. He didn't say anything and just looked at him quietly. Zhu Lingling whispered into Jiang Xiaowei's ear, "Your husband is angry." This is the first time I've seen him angry. It's the first time I've seen it, it's pretty scary. Jiang Xiaowei had been married to Wei Liao for years, and Wei Yunchu was already 4 years old, but she had never seen him so angry. It was obvious that he cared a lot about Shen Mingxi and Wei Ying. Young Master Wei, you don't have to be so harsh. Love is about mutual love. Mingxi and your sister's fate is over. Why do you have to force it? Hui Yanyan looked at Wei Liao and retorted. You're the mistress. You have no right to speak here. You've brought shame to the Hua family. Wei Liao looked at Hui Yanyan contemptuously. The word mistress was extremely derogatory. Hui Yanyan's face changed as soon as she heard it. Chapter 2262. Young Master Wei, you don't have to lower yourself to a woman's level. Don't make yourself seem petty. So petty people like to burn bridges after crossing the river and find a mistress after using the first wife, right? Wei Liao retorted. Shen Mingxi stared at Wei Liao for a while before he finally said calmly, things between me and your sister aren't as simple as you think they are. If you have the chance, you should ask her what she did in the Shen family after she got married. I won't say anything else. Today, I'm here to congratulate Lord Su. After all, it's an artist's wedding, so I don't want to cause any trouble. Excuse me, everyone. After Shen Mingxi finished speaking, he turned around and left with Hui Yanyan. Wei Liao was so angry that his face turned pale. Honey, are you okay? This was the first time that Jiang Xiaowei saw Wei Liao so angry. Jiang Xiaowei's heart ached. If it were someone else, she would have already gone to help her husband. Jiang Xiaowei's scolding skills were on par with Huamin's. However, Shen Mingxi was Lord Su's buddy, and he was here for the wedding. It wouldn't be good for either of them to make things too awkward, so Jiang Xiaowei kept quiet. Honey, I'm fine. Wei Liao turned his head and looked at Jiang Xiaowei with a gentle expression. Dad, don't be angry. Wei Yunshu reached out his little hand and touched Wei Liao's face. Lord Su, I'm leaving now. Let Xiaowei stay here, I still have work to do at the company. Wei Liao suggested that he should leave first. Su Yu knew why Wei Yunshu did this, so he didn't make things difficult for him. Okay, I'll find you for a drink later. Let's talk and calm down. Su Yu patted Wei Liao's shoulder. Slightly, you and your son play here. I'll pick you up later. Okay, then drive carefully. Jiang Xiaowei also knew that her husband couldn't stay any longer, so she didn't force him to stay. When you see Huamin and Qin Chu later, help me say hello. After that, Wei Liao turned around and left. Master Wei is very angry today. Gao Ran commented. Maybe you don't understand, but no matter how calm a person is, they will still feel indignant when it comes to family matters. Although my sister-in-law is arrogant and overbearing, and even I don't like her, my husband loves her very much. After all, they are blood-related siblings, and no matter what, he is better than an outsider. It's normal for him to feel uncomfortable. Maybe you don't know how much trouble my sister-in-law caused at home when she just got divorced. Jiang Xiaowei said as she bit her lip. I know, I heard that she slit her wrists and took sleeping pills. She even jumped off the second-floor rooftop of the mansion. Is that true? Tang Chuan had always been an encyclopedia in the industry, so nothing could escape his ears. Jiang Xiaowei nodded. Damn, she took sleeping pills, slit her wrists, and jumped off a building. Your sister-in-law is also a ruthless person. Zhu Lingling was dumbfounded. My sister-in-law has been spoiled since she was young. She can't get anything she wants. This time, the setback at the Shen family was a big blow to her. That's why she's acting like a crazy person. The people who are most upset by her behavior are none other than her family members. My in-laws are already mentally and physically exhausted because of her, and my husband is also worried about her. Jiang Xiaowei sighed. After Shen Mingxi and Hui Yanyan entered the venue, they ran into some business acquaintances. Shen Mingxi went over to greet them, and Hui Yanyan took some pastries to eat. After Huamin finished his work, he happened to see Hui Yanyan alone, so he walked over to her. Yanyan, he said with a serious expression. Hui Yanyan looked up and saw Huamin. She immediately put down the pastries in her hands, as if she knew what Huamin was going to say. I really didn't expect you to be a mistress. Huamin looked at Hui Yanyan in disappointment. He asked us for money, threw things, and even brought a bunch of hooligans to scare us. He stood up for us. My daughter and I are weak and need someone to protect us. I can't say no to his kindness, so you once again fell into your love. Hui Yanyan nodded. Okay, if that's the case, I have nothing else to say. Huamin sighed slightly. Mian, tell me the truth, do you really look down on me? Hui Yanyan looked at Huamin and asked. Chapter 2264. No, Yanyan, don't think that way. I'm just worried about your situation. Forget it, since things are already like this, we can't change anything. Anyways, remember to take good care of yourself and Tian. If you need anything, come to me. Huamin saw that Hui Yanyan had made up her mind about Shen Mingxi, so he didn't try to persuade her anymore. He just hoped that she would be careful. I will. Yanyan. Shen Mingxi called her name from not far away. Then I'll go over now, Mian. Hui Yanyan nodded and left. Huamin walked over to Qin Chu, who was not far away. Is my wife trying to persuade her to turn over a new leaf? Qin Chu asked as he put his arm around Huamin's shoulder. Your wife isn't that great, but I don't think Yan Yan should have made this choice. Okay, we're all adults and have the right to choose our own lives. Whether it's right or wrong, we have to be responsible. I understand. Huamin nodded. Good boy, don't be depressed. The wedding ceremony is coming up, and our babies are going to go on stage. How are the preparations going? The bride is putting on her makeup, and Jixin is changing. After hearing Qin Chu's words, Huamin nodded and followed Qin Chu to help with the reception. At Ni Yang's wedding, there were a lot of media outlets and even more celebrities in the industry. Huamin was relieved that Imo Shui didn't come, or else he would have been heartbroken. Inside the makeup room, Jixin, who had just changed into his best man's outfit, suddenly felt a sharp pain in his stomach. Jixin, what's wrong? Bridesmaid Qin Ning looked at him curiously. I think I have a stomachache, I need to go to the washroom, but, you're going on stage soon, there's not enough time. Qin Ning frowned. However, Jixin couldn't take it anymore and ran straight to the washroom. Tang Chuan patted Qin Ning's shoulder. Don't worry. If he can't, there's still me. We're the bridesmaid and best man. What a perfect match, go away. Qin Ning was used to Tang Chuan's playful behavior and thought he was joking. However, after waiting for about 10 minutes, Jixin still hadn't returned. Everyone, take your positions. The ceremony will begin in 3 minutes, the planner shouted into the headset. Why isn't Jixin back yet? I'm so worried, he's not coming back. He has diarrhea, how do you know he's having diarrhea? Qin Ning turned her head. Tang Chuan, okay, did you do something to it? Qin Ning pressed. I actually didn't do anything. I just gave him a cup of sausage tea. You're so despicable. Qin Ning gritted her teeth in anger. He didn't want to swap places with me and insisted on being the best man. I had no choice. You're the bridesmaid. I can't give you to someone else. Tang Chuan explained. Before Qin Ning could say anything, Chen Jia stood up. Ning, it's time for us to go in, okay? Then, Qin Ning turned around and pointed at Tang Chuan. Just you wait. I'm going to teach you a lesson. President Qin, feel free to pounce on me. Tang Chuan smirked. Chen Jia slowly walked onto the stage amidst the romantic piano music. Pudding and Little Bean wore little angel-like wedding dresses with garlands on their heads. Each of them held a small flower basket and scattered flower petals on the ground. As the bridesmaid, Qin Ning wore a long lavender dress. She followed behind the bride, holding the hem of her dress. At this moment, Chen Jia was beautiful, with a bright smile on her face. She slowly walked towards Ni Yang. With everyone's blessings, every step she took was like a halo. Sis, don't you think we look so dumb when we scatter flower petals? Little Bean whispered. Chapter 2265. Pfft. Don't tease me, I'm going to laugh. Pudding tried her best to hold back her laughter. I'm not teasing you, I'm serious, okay? Then, Little Bean turned her head and saw Suyu. She immediately smiled and waved her chubby little hand. Hey, handsome Su, hey, Pudding. Suyu was sitting in the front row, so he could hear Little Bean's words and interact with her. Handsome Su, you're so handsome today. Little Bean began to flatter him. You're beautiful too. Do your best. Suyu gave Little Bean and Pudding a thumbs up. Under everyone's watchful eyes, the two little guys escorted the bride to the center of the stage. Ni Yang took the bride from Chen Jie's father's hands, and they looked into each other's eyes. Does the groom have anything he wants to say to the bride? The famous host teased Young. Yes. Okay, everyone, quiet down. Let's listen to the confession of the superstar groom. The host said, and the audience immediately fell silent. Countless camera flashes were focused on them, and Chinjia was very nervous. However, she still tried her best to remain calm. She couldn't believe that she was going to marry a superstar, a handsome guy that many girls would go crazy over. Young held Chinjia's hands and looked at her with tenderness in his eyes. Although Chinjia wasn't the kind of girl who was stunning at first glance, she was very beautiful today with her exquisite bridal makeup. Young felt his heart race as he looked at the woman he loved in front of him at such an important moment. He took a deep breath and held Chinjia's hand. Looking into her eyes, he enunciated each word clearly, "Jia, my dear wife. From now on, we're one. We're going to build a new home, a family of our own. We've been through so much together for the past 4 years. No matter when I was at my lowest point or when I was at my peak, you were always by my side. Because of your identity, you had to be sneaky with me. I didn't do all the things a girl should do. I even had to wear a mask when I went out to the movies and avoid people. But from now on, I want to announce to the world that you, Chinjia, are my wife. We don't have to hide from people anymore. We can do whatever we want. From now on, I won't let you suffer. I'll love you and take care of you. It's a long life, but I'm confident that we'll be together forever." Yang's voice choked up as tears streamed down Chinjia's face. Yang continued, "The clouds never promise to stay in the sky, but we'll always be together. The stars never promise to shine in the night, but they always try to shine. I don't easily tell you how much I love you, but my true feelings will always be with you. We'll walk down the road together, and we'll face all the storms together. You'll always be my most precious thing. I won't lose you. Honey, I love you." Then, under everyone's gaze, Yang held Chinjia's face in his hands and kissed her. The crowd immediately burst into thunderous applause. Everyone in the audience was touched by her performance. Huamin's eyes were wet with tears as she clapped so hard that her hands turned red. "Honey, calm down," Qin Chu reminded Huamin. Chapter 2266. I can't calm down, I'm too excited. Yang said it so well, it's simple but touching, Huamin praised. How romantic, why weren't you like this when we were together? Zhu Lingling pinched Gao Ran's arm. Come on, honey, I was really touching back then too, okay? Don't bring up the past. Our kids are all grown up now, why are you picking on us? Gao Ran retorted. I don't care, I don't care. You have to write me something so touching on our wedding anniversary, I want to hear it. Zhu Lingling whined. Gao Buiyuan couldn't take it anymore and spoke up for his father. Mommy, you're so noisy. Let's watch the wedding, okay? Zhu Lingling choked on her son's words. Gao Ran immediately gave his son a look of approval. Ever since his son learned how to talk, his life had been much better. The two of them were finally together. After kissing, the bride and groom exchanged rings. Yang held Chinjia's hand, picked up the microphone, and continued, on this happy day, I also want to thank someone. The audience quieted down again as they waited for Yang to continue. She patiently treated my illness, comforted me, and encouraged me to walk out of my shadow. She even helped me untie the knot in my heart that had been in my heart for many years, allowing me to reunite with my mother and son. That's why we're so happy today. In terms of work and career, she's my teacher. In terms of personal life, she's my dearest family member. Although we're not related by blood, I love her as much as my own life. She's like a family member. No matter where I go, I miss her. Now, let's give her a round of applause and invite her onto the stage to say a few words. Let's welcome my beloved sister, Huamian. As soon as Huamin's name came out of his mouth, the audience erupted into thunderous applause. Suyu glanced at Huamin proudly. It was as if he was happier than being praised. Holy shit, Mian is going to be famous today. Zhu Lingling clapped her hands. He had a private discussion with Jiang Xiaowei. Mian is so good to Ni Yang, of course she's grateful. When Ni Yang was suffering from depression, Mian stayed up all night to discuss treatment plans with me. She really did her best. Jiang Xiaowei sighed. Emicham, now that you mention it, Mian is so nice. She's such a kind girl, that's why she's so lucky, Zhu Lingling said sincerely. Go, Dr. Hua. I'm proud of you. Qin Chu patted the back of Huamin's hand to encourage her. Huamin stood up excitedly and walked onto the stage in front of the media and guests. Wow, Mommy is so charismatic today. Little Bean exclaimed from behind the bride. Mommy is always charismatic, especially when she's teaching us a lesson. Little Bean snickered. Hey, sis, don't mention it. Mommy's going to give a speech on stage. No, I have to record it. Little Bean took out her phone as she spoke. Emicham, keep it so that when you make a mistake in the future, you can use it to kiss up to her, right? Little Bean looked at her sister with disdain. Ha ha ha, Pudding knows me best. Little Bean laughed. Huamin was wearing a dark blue evening gown. Her shoulders were bare, and there was a thin veil on her back. When she walked, she was especially eye-catching. Not only did the gown show off her slim figure, but it also made her look elegant but not ostentatious. It suited Huamin's personality very well. It's too sudden, I didn't prepare for this, nor did I rehearse. Huamin picked up the microphone and smiled embarrassedly. It's okay, Mian, you can say anything. Ni Yang comforted her. Chapter 2267. Okay, then I'll say a few words. Seeing Ni Yang and Chen Jie's expectant gazes, Huamin decided to be more high-profile for once. Although it didn't suit her personality, she was still very touched at an event like this. Maybe she would be even more excited when Jixin got married in the future. You can do it, honey. Mr. Qin mouthed to Huamin. She saw it all, she even gave Mr. Qin a clenched fist, looking extremely cute. Did you see it? Daddy and Mommy are secretly showing off their love. Little Bean said playfully. Yeah, I saw it. Daddy's lips and Mommy's hand gesture. Pudding understood everything. The adults sure know how to have fun. Little Bean pouted. Huamin looked around with the microphone in his hand and said in a soft voice, Thank you all for coming today. Today is the wedding of my brother, Ni Yang, and my assistant, Chen Jie. At the most important moment of their lives, I sincerely wish that they can trust each other, support each other, and live happily ever after. Actually, I also want to say that many people think that when the princess and the prince get together, it is the end of the story and the beginning of a fairy tale. Actually, that's not the case. After the prince and the princess get married, they will have to face many real problems. Marriage isn't a flower under the moonlight, and most of the time, it's just a mess. It all depends on how they manage this marriage. I hope that my brother and sister-in-law will be mentally prepared to face all the trials and tribulations in life. Please understand each other, be tolerant, respect, and love each other, and live life as beautiful as a fairy tale. Thank you all. After speaking, Huamin bowed deeply. At this moment, she was extremely elegant. She became the most beautiful woman in the world. Qin Chu looked at Huamin from below the stage, his heart filled with pride. His wife had been outstanding since she was a child. She was as charismatic as ever, and her simple words touched the audience. Mian, you said it so well. Zhu Lingling clapped her hands. His IQ is there. We can't compare with him, Gao Ran said with a smile. Mian, you're an emotional girl, I think you live more realistically than I do, Jiang Xiaowei commented. In fact, Jiang Xiaowei's IQ and EQ were also very high, but she was not as good as Huamin. She was just too rational. If a woman was too calm, Sometimes she would lack a sense of humanity. Huamin was not like that. She was too emotional. She would cry, laugh, throw a tantrum, and even drive a car into Hua Xiqian in excitement. She would even want to jump off a cliff because of despair. After all, they weren't immortals. They all had emotions and desires. Therefore, in comparison, a girl like Huamin was more likable. This was also the reason why Jiang Xiaowei admired Huamin the most. Suyu looked at Huamin affectionately, his gaze unwavering. He always thought that although she wasn't a superstar, she was as dazzling as a superstar. It had been a long time since he saw her radiate with such charm. Suyu actually felt a little excited. He even wanted to go up on stage and hug Huamin. However, after calming down, he realized that hugging was not an option. Right now, even being alone with Huamin was an extravagant wish. It was as if she never belonged to him. Did you see that? Look at the way Lord Su looks at your sister-in-law. It's like how Shiman Qing looks at Pan Jinlian. Tang Chuan teased. Fuck off. Qin Ning was so angry that she exploded. I'm just kidding. Don't take it seriously. Qin Ning turned her head away and ignored him. Ning, to be honest. Lord Su really loves Huamin. Tang Chuan didn't bring it up on purpose. He just felt emotional when he saw Su Yu's infatuated gaze. I know. This time, Qin Ning didn't get angry. Instead, she quietly bit her lip and said, "When did you find out?" Tang Chuan was curious. Chapter 2268. I already knew. You already knew? Then why did you try to get close to Lord Su? Tang Chuan stared at Qin Ning, his heart filled with jealousy. Who tried to get close to Suyu? Don't deny it, I can see it. Pudding and Little Bean were the ones who set us up. It's not like you don't know how smart those two little guys are. How dare they marry my wife to someone else? I'm going to teach them a lesson. The robot must come back. Tang Chuan began to hold a grudge. What robot? Qin Ning was confused. Nothing. Tang Chuan didn't dare to say more, afraid that Qin Ning would see through the confidentiality agreement between him and Little Bean. Then, the MC called the twins to the stage and teased them, "You two are so pretty. My little babies, why don't you give the bride and groom a question? I heard that you two have high IQ, so please don't make it too difficult." The MC said with a smile. "Sis, you give us a question." Little Bean handed the difficult task to her sister. Pudding's question must be harder. Ni Yang smiled and picked up Pudding. Qin Jia, in her wedding dress, held Little Bean's hand. As parents, Qin Chu and Huamin watched from below. What do you think Pudding will ask? Qin Chu tilted his head and looked at Huamin. Maybe she'll ask something that tests IQ. For example, how many light years is Earth from Neptune? Haha. Honey, what do you think Little Bean will ask? Huamin asked excitedly. She'll probably ask Ni Yang how many times he plans to do it tonight. Pfft. Don't make your daughter sound so dirty, okay? Huamin almost choked. Little Bean has always been like this. It's not like you've just met her. Qin Chu laughed. All right, we'll wait and see. Huamin smiled faintly. Ni Yang handed the microphone to Pudding. Pudding looked at Ni Yang and said, "Uncle Ni Yang, please say 6 names for the bride in 30 seconds. The countdown starts now." Wife, lover, baby, wife. After saying 5 words, Ni Yang was stuck. Tang Chuan reminded him softly from behind. Your mother. Get lost. Your mother is the mother's idea. Don't talk nonsense. Qin Ning immediately stopped Tang Chuan's deliberate prank. It's almost time, uncle. Pudding smirked. There's one more. I'm sure I can say it. Does my dear count? Ni Young suddenly had an idea. Yes. Pudding nodded and looked at Chen Jie. Auntie, please say 6 names for the bridegroom. Husband, 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 lover, husband, darling. Chen Jie said almost in a row. Since Ni Yang was setting the stage, she was much more relaxed. Honey, you're so smart. Ni Yang complimented. So, Uncle Ni Yang, you have to listen to your wife from now on, okay? Pudding asked. No problem. Ni Yang smiled. Little Bean, you ask your uncle one too. Ni Yang really liked the twins, so he wanted to give them a chance to show off. Before Little Bean spoke, Qin Chu and Huamin were both nervous. They were afraid that she would really say something outrageous. After all, there were too many reporters at the scene. It would be bad if someone caught them. Uncle, how many babies do you plan to have? Little Bean asked. Ahem, I'm responding to the country's call for a second child. 2 is enough. Ni Yang replied. What if Auntie wants to have more babies? Are you willing? Little Bean continued to press. Then we'll have more. Listen to your auntie. We'll just have to pay the fine. After Ni Yang said this, everyone laughed. Then here's the question. How long do you think it will take for Auntie to get pregnant? Little Bean asked. Qin Chu and Huamin both covered their faces. Their expressions were extremely sour. Ni Yang also blushed upon hearing the little girl's question. Chapter 2269. Ni Yang stuttered. Little Bean's words made everyone burst into laughter. My God, isn't my daughter-in-law a bit too fierce? Zhu Lingling burst into laughter. I don't want a daughter-in-law like her, I'm going to ask Qin Chu for a refund. Gao Ran said with puppy eyes. Little Bean is too dirty, too dirty. Gao Buiyuan covered his eyes. Son, do you know what Little Bean meant? Zhu Lingling looked down at her son in her arms. I don't know, but I can tell from your expressions that it's not something good, Gao Buiyuan said proudly. Ha, son, you're amazing, your reasoning skills are as good as your dad's. Zhu Lingling pinched her son's cheeks. Gao Ran picked up Gao Buiyuan from Zhu Lingling's arms. Of course, he's my son, he's not a free gift, Little Bean is such a clown, I'm so lucky to have a daughter like her. Jiang Xiaowei smiled. How about we swap? You give Yunchu to my family, and I'll give Little Bean to yours. Huamin looked at Jiang Xiaowei with a smile. Before Jiang Xiaowei could say anything, Wei Yunchu couldn't sit still anymore. Auntie Huamin, you can't swap, why not? Auntie will treat you as well as your mom. You can have whatever you have at home, Huamin coaxed Wei Yunchu. She thought Wei Yunchu would say something like, my mom is the best. However, after a while, he finally said, no, if I give her to your family, I'll be Pudding's brother and sister. There's a U shape there, close relatives can't get married. Pudding is my wife, she can't be my sister. Ha 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 ha. Wei Yunchu's words made Zhu Lingling and Gao Ran laugh. Jiang Xiaowei couldn't hold it in either. Then you can marry Little Bean. Didn't I give her to your family? Then you two won't be siblings anymore. Huamin continued to test the little handsome guy's IQ. Forget it. If we don't compare, we won't know. Now that we compare, I'm shocked. I think Pudding suits me better. Little Bean is too wild. Wei Yunchu used the word wild to describe Little Bean. Slightly, your son's EQ isn't bad. It's comparable to yours. He's going to be amazing when he grows up. Zhu Lingling chuckled. This kid is just like his father. Although he doesn't say much, his words are all gold. I don't know what to do. Jiang Xiaowei patted her son's head lovingly. Huamin couldn't stop laughing. He pulled Qin Chu aside and said, "Listen, your little bean is being despised, it's okay. Little bean can marry Boyuan." Mr. Qin said calmly. "Pfft. Our Boyuan won't take the blame." Gao Ran held his son tightly and corrected him. While the adults in the audience were having fun, Ni Yang was still thinking hard about how to answer Little Bean's question. "Superstar, hurry up and answer," the MC cheered. "I think I'll try my best to make your auntie pregnant in the shortest time possible." Ni Yang finally stuttered and made a promise in front of everyone. Chen Jie's cheeks also turned red. "Little Bean is so fierce. But I like it. Ha 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 ha." Tang Chuan laughed behind him. Qin Ning looked at the man in front of her. He wasn't pretentious and was laughing arrogantly. She suddenly felt that people like him were quite nice. At least he wasn't shrewd, at least he wasn't hard to read. "Why are you looking at me like that?" Tang Chuan turned around and saw Qin Ning looking at him. Chapter 2270. "Can't I just take a look? Do you think I'm spending money?" Qin Ning snapped. No, look all you want. If you don't like it, you can touch it." Tang Chuan snickered. "Fuck off." The best man and the maid of honor fought behind them, and the wedding ended with smiles and tears. Next up was the wedding banquet. Hua Min and Qin Chu paid for all the expenses. They used the best wedding banquet set from the Yunding Mountain Hot Spring Hotel, which cost as much as $38,888 per table. The banquet was full of seafood, sashimi, and other high-end dishes. The guests were extremely satisfied. There were 100 tables of banquets. Even the media was prepared to take photos and interview the guests. All the media gave good reviews. At the Hua mansion, Hua Xiqian was wearing a bathrobe and sitting in the living room with a glass of red wine in his hand. He was watching the 80-inch LCD TV. When Hua Min went on stage, he was extremely focused. His subordinates stood in a row behind him, but no one dared to say a word. "Isn't she beautiful?" Hua Xiqian asked. One of his assistants froze for a second before realizing who Hua Xiqian was referring to. He nodded and flattered, yes, Miss Hua is very beautiful. I haven't seen her so elegant in a long time. What a cute girl, even her words are so interesting." Hua Xiqian praised Hua Min's performance as he sipped on his wine. "Boss, since you miss Miss Hua so much, why don't we invite her to our house?" Although his assistant used the word invite, based on their current relationship, Hua Min would have to be forceful or even kidnap her. Forget it, it's New Year's Eve, why make things difficult for her? With that, Hua Xiqian picked up his phone and dialed a number. Hua Min was busy greeting guests at the wedding, so she picked up the call without looking at the caller ID. Hello, I'm Hua Min," she said breathlessly. "Happy New Year, Mian," Hua Xiqian smiled slightly and said in a magnetic voice. Hearing Hua Xiqian's voice, Hua Min stopped smiling. "What do you want?" "Nothing, I just miss you and want you to come home." Hua Xiqian meant the Hua mansion. "Are you delusional, Hua Xiqian?" Hua Mian. "Don't be so agitated. I was just thinking about it. I won't do anything to you." The live broadcast just now was very exciting. "Your performance was very outstanding." "My girl," every time Hua Xiqian said something so mushy, Hua Min felt a chill run down her spine. "If that's what you're calling to say, then I'm sorry, but I'm busy." Then, Hua Mian hung up the phone. "What's wrong?" Qin Chu saw that Hua Min wasn't in a good mood and walked over. "Nothing, it's just a prank call," Hua Min said evasively as she held on to Qin Chu's arm and continued greeting the guests. After the twins left the stage, their grandparents carried them to sit with Ni Yang's mother, little brother, and Chen Jie's parents. Hua Mian had arranged for all the people at this table to be her elders, who were very close to her. Tang Chuan and Qin Ning walked to the lounge to get changed. "You're wearing too little, come here and wear mine," Tang Chuan saw that Qin Ning's gown was too revealing, so he took off his jacket and put it on her. How is this considered too little? Qin Ning looked down at her gown, thinking that Tang Chuan's words were ridiculous. It's not that you're wearing too little, it's that your breasts are too big. That's why people's imaginations run wild. Tang Chuan laughed. Chapter 2271. Despicable, only a despicable person like you would think of something so despicable. Qin Ning glared at him. Then, the two went back to the lounge to get changed. Just then, Jixin walked out of the bathroom, limp and exhausted. His face was pale. Hey, bro, where were you? The wedding is over and you're only coming out now? Tang Chuan teased him. Don't mention it, I don't know what I ate, but I had diarrhea a dozen times. My legs are weak. But what did you just say? The wedding is over? What should I do? I'm the best man. Jixin's face paled. Don't worry, I was your substitute. Tang Chuan patted Jixin's shoulder in all seriousness. You scared me to death, I thought I screwed up. Thank you, big brother Chuan. Jixin, an honest kid, didn't know what happened and was still thanking Tang Chuan. It's okay, don't mention it, we're all buddies. Then you guys go get changed, I'll go take a look. Jixin held his stomach and walked out. Tang Chuan smiled proudly. Qin Ning glanced at him. Little Chuan, can you be any more shameless? How am I shameless? You drugged him and made him unable to be the best man, and now you're here pretending to be a virgin. How can you be so shameless? Let me correct you, I didn't drug him. That was sausage tea, it's good for health, got it? I was detoxifying Jixin, okay? You're so shameless. Jixin is such an honest kid, if only he had half of my sister-in-law's IQ. Then you wouldn't have bullied him, I didn't bully him. Don't talk nonsense, little Ning. Plus, I did it for you, for some reason. Qin Ning blushed, even though she knew he was joking with Tang Chuan. Ning, your face is so red. Tang Chuan looked down and carefully looked at Qin Ning. Ahem, it's a bit hot in here, is the air conditioning too high? Qin Ning purposely found an excuse. Tang Chuan turned around and looked at the air conditioner switch. No, the air conditioner isn't on, well, it's hot. If I say it's hot, then it's hot. Qin Ning corrected her. Okay. You're right. It's hot. It's really hot. It's like the Sahara Desert. How about, we take off our clothes and take a bath together? Tang Chuan teased her on purpose. Fuck off. Qin Ning was speechless. He picked up a pillow and threw it at Tang Chuan. Tang Chuan didn't even dodge. He caught the pillow with his bare hands and hugged it in his arms. So. Ning, by giving me a pillow, are you hinting that I can sleep with you? Tang Chuan, come here. I want to see you. Qin Ning gritted her teeth and smiled. Don't go over there. You'll strangle me to death. Tang Chuan hid far away after saying that. Hurry up and get out, I'm going to change. Go ahead. I'll close my eyes. No, only a ghost would believe you. Qin Ning was so angry that her face turned red. You're wrong about that. Even a ghost wouldn't believe me. Tang Chuan continued to tease her. Okay, I won't tease you anymore. I'll go out. You can change on your own. After saying that, Tang Chuan was about to leave. Suddenly, he thought of something. He walked up to Qin Ning and pulled her zipper forcefully. With a rip, the zipper came down, exposing her entire back. Tang Chuan, what are you doing? Qin Ning was about to break down and screamed hysterically. Chapter 2272. Without any warning, he unzipped her dress. Why are you so excited? If I don't help you, who'll help you when I get out? No need to thank me. Then, Tang Chuan ran away with a pillow. Qin Ning was about to get mad, but the door was already closed. In the end, she smiled helplessly and took off her dress. The banquet didn't end until 10 p.m. Huamin was annoyed by all the noise, so he hid on the balcony to enjoy the breeze. And walked over and stood behind him. President Hua. Ha. And had been Huamin's driver and bodyguard for 3 years, so they were very familiar with each other. President Hua, President Su is drunk. Can you go see him? Anne's voice was very low, as if he was begging Huamin. Drunk? Huamin was surprised. Suyu hadn't been drunk in a long time. Especially in a crowded place, he would try his best to stay calm. Yeah, maybe he's hiding too many things in his heart. Today, he said it out loud, and guessed. Where is he right now? Huamin asked. In the hallway behind the hotel. Okay, I'll go see him. Sinsen said so. Huamin wouldn't feel at ease if he didn't go. She cared about Su Yu's feelings. Qin Chu held the twins' hands and continued to work in the hall. Huamin wore a dark blue dress and walked towards the hallway behind the hotel. Su Yu didn't drink that much. Maybe it was because he wasn't in a good mood, so he felt a little dizzy. Then, he hid here alone and looked at the snowy scenery. Yunding Mountain was covered in snow all year round. During the new year, the wind was bone-chilling. However, one could see the most beautiful snowy scenery and hanging trees. In the north, people called it the Holy Mountain. After Qin Chu returned to GK, he started building the most beautiful ski resort in the country. Therefore, Yunding Mountain became more and more prosperous. The local government even cooperated with GK to build an airport and bring tourists from all over the country to ski and soak in the hot springs. Su Yu stood in a good spot to look at the snow. He held a glass of champagne in his hand and stared into the distance. Huamin walked over and stopped beside him. Can I have a sip of the champagne? I'm a little thirsty. Huamin smiled. Su Yu tilted his head and looked at Huamian with tenderness in his eyes. Here, but don't get drunk, Su Yu. I wasn't the one who was drunk. Huamian corrected her. Su. You're so sober. It seems like you're not drunk. And is making a fuss over nothing. Huamin took a sip of the champagne. Huamin took small sips of the champagne. Her lips looked especially seductive under the reflection of the glass. Su Yu didn't know if he was really drunk or if he was delusional. For a moment, he wanted to rush up and kiss her. However, a voice in his heart kept reminding him not to do that. Otherwise, he might not even be friends with her in the future. Su Yu was conflicted and tried his best to restrain himself. What are you thinking about? Huamin looked up and saw that Su Yu's gaze was a little strange. No, nothing. I just thought what you said on stage was pretty good. I said it on the spot. I didn't prepare a script. What's so good about it? It's all the truth. It can't be shown on stage. Sometimes, the truth is the most heartwarming. Ni Yang is lucky to have a sister like you, Su Yu sighed. He's also lucky to have a boss like you. Huamin smiled. Mian. Su Yu said gently. Yes? I suddenly have a crazy idea, Su Yu said slowly. What idea? Huamin looked at Su Yu's handsome side profile curiously. Chapter 2273. I plan to be single for the rest of my life. After speaking, Su Yu let out a deep breath, as if a huge rock had been lifted from his heart. Single for the rest of your life? Huamin frowned slightly. Yes, that means I'm going to be single for the rest of my life. Isn't that awesome? Su Yu smiled casually. Why? Huamin's face instantly fell, and his heart sank. Because there won't be another Huamin in this world. Su Yu looked at Huamin and said seriously. Huamin felt as if something was tugging at his heart. Then, he looked at Su Yu and smiled, changing the topic. I'm just kidding, don't be nervous, it has nothing to do with you. I'm used to being single, and I think this kind of life suits me. Actually, being married doesn't mean being happy, and being single doesn't mean being unlucky. Everyone has the right to choose their own way of life. When we were born, we were one person, and we can't leave at the same time, so when we leave, we'll still be alone. Living alone, as long as you have a good attitude, it's a kind of happiness. You're smart, you should understand what I mean. Su Yu rarely spoke so seriously. However, every time he spoke like this, Huamin's heart ached. You're right, but Lord Su and the others. Huamin was worried about the Su family's feelings. To be honest, Mian, I don't care so much. Sometimes, people think too much, and carry too many things and responsibilities. That's why they're unhappy. I don't want to be that kind of person. Maybe you guys think that I'm selfish, that I only have myself in my heart. I really don't care so much. But you're the only heir of the Su family. If you don't continue the family line. Huamin wanted to say something, but he stopped. Why are you as stubborn as my grandfather? What era are we living in? People in other countries don't care about these things, but we in China always want to continue the family line and have sons. But what happens after that? So what? Even if my generation is not broken, what about the next generation? How do you know that my children and grandchildren will have the same thoughts as me? What if I meet someone who has the same thoughts as me in the future and doesn't want to get married and have children? So, don't think about it. It's meaningless. Su Yu waved his hand and smiled. I know I have no right to interfere with your thoughts, and I don't want to persuade you. I just want to say, fate is a wonderful thing. Some people come early, and some people come late. But in the end, there will be arrangements, so don't jump to conclusions too early. Maybe your other half is on the way. When you meet the one you really like, you won't be so free and easy. Really? Then I'll wait and see. In short, I'm enjoying this kind of life now. However, I have a small request that you have to promise me. Su Yu rarely acted like a spoiled child. Moreover, she was acting coquettishly in front of Huamin. This was the first time she had done so since they had known each other. Huamin suddenly felt that Lord Su's demeanor was very cute. Okay, what is it? If I'm really going to be alone in the future, can you let the twins be my goddaughters? If I'm old, there will be someone to take care of me. Don't leave me in a nursing home. That's so miserable, haha, you're thinking too far ahead. Huamin laughed. You're still laughing. I'm talking about such a serious topic with you. Su Yu looked wronged. Chapter 2274. Okay, I won't laugh. I promise you that even if we have a second or third child, they'll call you their godfather, okay? Don't worry, we'll make sure you have a lot of children. Huamin was just joking. However, Su Yu heard the key words. He stopped smiling and looked at Huamin seriously. You're planning to have a second child? So, are you pregnant? Su Yu's voice was very low. However, Huamin still heard it clearly. Huh, what are you thinking? I just said it casually. What pregnancy? Mr. Qin and I are very casual about having a second child. We'll let nature take its course. If it comes, we'll take it. If it doesn't, we won't force it. Huamin explained. Su Yu nodded. Just then, Huamin's phone rang. Hello? Honey. Okay, I'll be right there. After hanging up, Huamin smiled apologetically. Lord Su, we should go back. It's over. As the CEO of Imperial Star, you have to talk to the media about official matters. Mr. Qin is coaxing Pudding and Little Bean to sleep. You and I will be interviewed by the media for 15 minutes. Is that okay? No problem. Let's go. Then, Suyu and Hwamin came back from the corridor behind the hotel and were interviewed by the media in the lobby. When everything was over, it was already past 11 p.m. All the guests had left. For those who didn't, Hwamin asked the hotel to arrange suites for them. Suyu was going to leave, but it snowed in the middle of the night and the road was bad. Hwamin tried his best to persuade him to stay and booked a presidential suite for him and An. However, Tang Chuan shamelessly went to join in the fun. You're glowing these days. Suyu looked at Tang Chuan. Yeah, I've been like this ever since Ning Ning came back. Then if she leaves again, will you still die? Suyu choked him. I won't let her go. Even if she really leaves, I'll go with her. Tang Chuan made up his mind. Still going? Didn't you come back with your tail between your legs last time? You're really shameless, Master Tang. Suyu gave him a thumbs up. It's useless to care about your face. The most important thing is to have a wife. No matter what Suyu said, Tang Chuan wasn't angry. When Hwamin returned, Qin Chu had just finished showering. Honey, are they asleep? Hwamin whispered. Yes, they're all asleep. Qin Chu nodded while drying his hair with a towel. It was extremely tempting. Hwamin ran over like a little bird and jumped into Mr. Qin's arms. What are you doing? Mr. Qin was shocked. Honey, thank you for your hard work, you're so thoughtful. Qin Chu looked down at Hwamin with a smile. Of course, you're the hero this time. Your team came up with the wedding plan, you paid for the banquet, and you contacted the media. Anyways, everything went well. All I did was say a few words on stage. Honey, you're the best. Wow, Dr. Hua has grown up. He's thoughtful and knows how to suck up to his husband. He's becoming more and more like Little Bean, Qin Chu praised. Ha! I'm going to learn from Little Bean. Look at how popular she is. Although she's not as smart as her sister, she has a lot of connections. Everyone likes her. Hwamin was full of pride when he talked about his 2 babies. Okay, go take a shower and rest early. You've had a long day, Qin Chu said worriedly. I'll take a shower later. Hwamin said with a red face. What are you going to do now? Qin Chu froze and looked at Hwamin's strange expression. Chapter 2275. Hwamin didn't say anything. Qin Chu immediately understood what she meant, and he didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Dr. Hua, please, can you be more professional at a time like this? Am I not professional enough? Hwamin didn't want to admit defeat. Honey, you? Mr. Qin asked subtly. Hwamin nodded shyly. Yeah, I want a second child. She was even more subtle. Mr. Qin's lips curved up slightly as he lifted Hwamin up. In order not to disturb the twins in the other room, Mr. Qin carried her into a bathroom that was a little further away. After a tiring day, only Qin Chu and Hwamin were still in the mood. Hwamin laid on top of Qin Chu, breathing heavily. Honey, yeah? Will you betray me? Why are you asking this? Qin Chu reached out and gently caressed Hwamin's face. I'm just worried that when I get older, you'll get tired of me and find a younger and prettier woman. Do you think I'm that kind of person? Mr. Qin asked. You're not, then you're right, don't think too much, that day won't come. Qin Chu hugged Hwamin tightly. He held her against his chest, as if he was afraid that he would lose her at any moment. Hwamin didn't say anything. She leaned against Qin Chu's chest and quietly enjoyed this beautiful moment. Ni Yang's wedding was over. Everyone returned to their normal lives. Qin Ning didn't want to go back to her normal life. Qin Ning was surprised that she wasn't planning to go back to the States. Qin Chu's second uncle had called her several times to urge her to go back, but she was hesitant. Since Qin Chu's parents moved back, Jixin and Yang Meirong moved back to their old house at Sky Blessing Court. That way, they had a lot more freedom. In the morning, Qin Chu and Huamin went to work. The twins began to turn the house upside down. Qin Ning put on some makeup, put on a pair of jeans, and an orange cashmere coat, and walked out. Stop. Auntie, you're dressed so flirtatiously, where are you going? Pudding stopped her, and there was still unfinished cream on the corner of her mouth. I'm going out for a walk. I'm bored with you two brats all day. Qin Ning said purposely. Pudding was sending a WeChat message, Auntie, you're really just going out for a walk. Aren't you going out with Uncle Tang? Of course not. Don't talk nonsense. Qin Ning suddenly felt guilty. Auntie, you've been glowing lately. Ever since you came back from Uncle Ni Yang's wedding, I've noticed something different about you. Hurry up and tell me the truth. Are you dating someone? Little Bean demanded. What? What do you mean? Is Ning Ning in a relationship? Old Madame Qin asked curiously when she heard her granddaughter's conversation. Auntie, it's nothing. Don't listen to Pudding and Little Bean, it's nothing. Then, Qin Ning ran out in a hurry. She didn't want to confront the twins anymore. If it's nothing, then what's going to happen? Is she going to come home with a big belly? Pudding sighed. Don't talk nonsense, Pudding, don't talk about Auntie like that. Mrs. Qin thought Pudding was being ridiculous and immediately stopped her. Then, Pudding walked over and sat down beside Pudding. Sis, do you think we should get involved in this matter? How? Pudding didn't even look at her. Chapter 2276. Should we tell Daddy and Mommy? Should we keep an eye on Auntie or something? You're overthinking it. It's impossible that Daddy and Mommy don't know about this. From what I see, Daddy trusts Uncle Tang's character, which is why he allowed him to be close to Auntie. Otherwise, with Daddy's personality, he would break someone's leg if they tried to do something to his sister. Pudding didn't think much of it. You're right. Pudding looked at her sister with admiration. When it came to analyzing situations and thinking logically, Pudding's brain worked faster than Pudding's. Southside Recuperation Center, Chinjia was on wedding leave and wasn't back yet. Huamin and his new assistant weren't familiar with each other yet, so he did most of the work himself. Vice Director Hua, someone's looking for you. Come in. Huamin was busy reviewing documents and didn't even look up. Then, she heard the office door being pushed open and footsteps coming in. Mian, Huamin looked up at the familiar voice. He was immediately overjoyed, Xiaoxue. Huamin immediately stood up, walked out, and enthusiastically shook Wu Xiaoxue's hand. Long time no see. You're the vice director now. Wu Xiaoxue was wearing a dark blue coat and was dressed elegantly. Maybe it was because she stayed in the States for too long, but her aura changed drastically. Don't tease me. It's all because President Wu took care of me and promoted me. Come, sit. Huamin pulled over a chair for Wu Xiaoxue to sit down. Then, he saw the man behind Wu Xiaoxue. It was Ning Ziyuan, holding his daughter's hand. Happy New Year, Huamin. Ning Ziyuan smiled. Happy New Year, Huamin nodded and smiled back. After Ning Ziyuan went to the States, Huamin never heard from him again. The only few times he had heard about him, it was from Director Wu, and he had always been very casual about it. She heard that the couple had opened a clinic there, specializing in treating the local Chinese. They were quite famous. Now that he saw Ning Ziyuan, it really felt like a lifetime had passed. His appearance did not change much, but his aura was indeed completely different. Ning Ziyuan was wearing a black cashmere coat, which was similar to Wu Xiaoxue's. It was simple and elegant. Around his neck was a classic Burberry scarf with silver-rimmed glasses. He looked very elegant. The scumbag temperament was completely gone. It had to be said that time and environment could really change a person completely. Ning Ziyuan was holding the hand of a little girl. She was already very tall and looked very similar to Ning Ziyuan. Huamin immediately squatted down and touched her little face. This is little Xinyue, right? She's so big already. Xinyue, call her Auntie Mian, Wu Xiaoxue said. Hello, Auntie Mian. The little girl's voice was sweet and adorable. Oh, that's great. Xinyue is already so tall. She's only a year older than our pudding little bean, but she's much taller. Maybe it has to do with the environment there. The people there eat beef and milk, so they're very healthy. Many of my Chinese friends' children are also very well developed. Wu Xiaoxue smiled. When did you guys come back? Why didn't you call me? Huamin looked at Wu Xiaoxue warmly. We came back on the 29th and spent the new year with my parents and uncle. Uncle hasn't been very healthy these past few years, so we didn't want to torture him too much. Plus, Ziyuan's parents also missed their children. After the new year, we went back to Ziyuan's hometown. Didn't we just come back? Since you're already at work, we came to South Side to see you. I heard you gave birth to twin daughters, congratulations. Ning Ziyuan looked at Huamin with a gentleness that hadn't been seen in a long time. Chapter 2277. Thank you. Huamin nodded at Ning Ziyuan. Although he was polite, his eyes were distant. Huamin felt like Ning Ziyuan was a lifetime ago. Plus, there wasn't much love or hate between them. Mian, where are the twins? Why don't we have dinner together? The baby went with her grandparents to visit some relatives of the Qin family. Unfortunately, Wu Xiaoxue didn't come at the right time and didn't see the twins. Oh, it's okay. Let's find a time to get together before we leave. We can have dinner together, Wu Xiaoxue suggested enthusiastically. Okay, let's contact each other on WeChat. Before they left, Huamin gave Wu Xinyue a red envelope of 6,600 yuan as a token of appreciation. Wu Xiaoxue and Huamin argued for a long time before she accepted the red envelope. Huamin was no longer in the mood to work. He suddenly remembered something from a long time ago. Back then, Wu Xiaoxue was at loggerheads with her because of Ning Ziyuan. She was negligent and almost caused the death of a pregnant woman. Huamin saved the pregnant woman out of kindness and caused a storm. Fortunately, Mr. Qin helped to clean up the mess. Thinking back, she never thought that she would be so close to Wu Xiaoxue one day, visiting each other like old friends. Thinking back, she never thought that she would be able to congratulate Ning Ziyuan one day with a smile. There was no emotion in her eyes. Thinking back, she never thought that one day, everything would be in the past. Everyone around her was just a passerby. Only Qin Chu stayed with her to this day, just like when they were young. He never left her. When they walked out of South Side Recuperation Center, Wu Xiaoxue held on to Ning Ziyuan's arm. Ning Ziyuan hugged Xinyue lovingly. The couple walked slowly and chatted as they walked. Ziyuan, tell me the truth. You loved her, right? After hearing this, Ning Ziyuan was silent for a while. Then, he nodded. Yes. Then why did you? Wu Xiaoxue didn't finish her sentence. You want to ask why I didn't give Huamian an explanation back then? If I didn't do what I did, someone like her wouldn't have left me so easily, even if it was out of responsibility, right? Ning Ziyuan finished Wu Xiaoxue's question for her. Yes. Now that I think about it, I was young and hot-blooded back then. There are some things that the more you like, the more you're afraid of losing. I knew that she had a boyfriend that she loved deeply overseas, and I knew that he was always in her heart. I also knew that I never entered her heart. So, when everything happened, I was so repulsed and hysterical. It all came from my lack of confidence in myself. I knew that I wasn't the man that Huamin liked, I was just a necessity for her to live an ordinary life. The moment Qin Chu came back, I felt like I had returned to my rightful owner. So, I acted like a child and threw a tantrum and even acted like a rascal. You're pretty objective to judge yourself like that. Wu Xiaoxue tilted her head and smiled at Ning Ziyuan. Look at how old I am. So many things have happened over the years, it's time for me to move on. She has a kind heart and a strong soul. My family is a medical family, and my uncle and grandpa are both excellent doctors. They've always wanted me to do the best I can. Unfortunately, no matter how hard I try, I can't be like Huamin. She's the youngest vice director in the country. She's won so many international awards, I can only look up to her. Ziyuan, don't you think I'm a failure? Wu Xiaoxue sighed. You're tuning into the Dreamy Chapters YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.